I have a bunch of mentors and they inspire me, they encourage me. What if I did an event? What if I invited people to come to an event and I just asked some of my mentors to sit down and just to talk about their hope for optimism and what technology could do for humanity and how this can be redeemed for all of us and the great things that we can look forward to. Like, what if it inspired somebody? What if one of you here or one of you watching through the live stream, by the way, thanks for your attention. Thank you so much for actually paying attention to us right now. I promise you this is going to be worth your time. And I promise you, you're going to feel something very powerful. You might not remember what those that I honor and trust and respect so much, they're about ready to come up and talk. And they're each going to talk for 10 minutes. And I'm going to ask them 4 simple questions. What are you most concerned about in your industry? How are you mitigating that risk and dealing with that? What are you most hopeful about in your industry? What is the solution, and how can we, in this room, how can we online, how can we be a part of that solution? So I'm going to have 9 people that I trust come up, and I'm going to ask those 4 questions and give them a chance to inspire you. You might not remember what we say. You will remember how we make you feel. If you give us your ear. If you pay attention, you won't regret it. I'm here to pay attention. I'm here to ask questions, and I'm here to listen. And so let me invite Louisa Wendorf to come and be the first person to speak. She'll be talking about the future of entertainment.
Wait, are we moving this? Yes, we are.
Yes, we are. High five.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here.
You've come as a new friend that I respect, and I just am amazed by what you've done. For those that don't know, go and watch Louisa's videos on YouTube. Go download her songs on iTunes. Become a super fan. Tell everybody you know about her music. She's bringing hope. And I really want you to specifically tell everybody here your mission before we get started.
Yeah, so I'm a pop artist. Little background about myself. Based in Nashville and Los Angeles. And just in pop, my mission is really to bring healing to the pop industry by way of truth and vulnerability. And I think it's a sector in our industry that's really missing because it's turned into a place of really selling yourself as a business and hustling and grinding for the product of self-acclamation and fame. And I believe that in the entertainment industry, it's such a powerful platform to shift culture at large and the way that our society moves and breathes. And we're on our phones all the time. And as in the millennial generation, it's what we do. We're watching videos, we're on social media, looking at other people. And then all of even the mental aspect, now I'm kind of going on a tangent, but like the mental aspect of that turns into comparison and what can I do and how can I be a part of that? And it's really become a detrimental thing to identity at large. So a huge part of what I want to do as an artist is maintain that the relationship between fans, between people, while really encouraging the identity and the unique beauty in each person instead like what I want basically is for when people watch me or listen to my music, instead of like, I want to be like you, I want it to empower them to be like them and to give them permission to be fully who they are no matter what that is.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to be part of something bigger than yourself, then follow Louisa on social media. She has 300 subscribers on YouTube. Why? Because she's actually fulfilling her mission. And by joining that crowd and tying yourself to what she's doing with creativity and art, and knowing that she's positioned on this platform for a reason to speak authoritatively about where entertainment is going. And you know, everyone wants to be part of a tribe that matters. I think yours does. I want to start by asking you, and of course you have to keep the questions brief, right? Because we have stacked full of wonderful people to share.
Amazing.
In the entertainment industry, what are you most concerned that could happen that's really bad, fearful with technology?
Isolation is a massive thing. And again, with entertainment, a huge part of that is social media and the whole premise of social media, I mean, we're at Twitter headquarters, is to connect, and it's a fine line between over connection and isolating yourself within personal connection, and then just becoming the same, because we see that a lot of as an influencer and somebody that brands hire to promote their fashion, beauty, products, whatever that may be. It's a fine line to make everything the same and just try to be like somebody and emulate. And as an artist, the biggest question that I get asked is, who do you sound like? You know, and it's like you're almost forced to identify with a person so that that other person can put you in a box.
That's good.
So it's interesting because we all want to be unique and diverse in a world that is also, there's so much out there that we're also trying to be boxed in at the same time. So really regulating what that looks like individually.
That's awesome. What are you most hopeful about? Like, if you could cast a vision and you could imagine like something just incredible happening for humanity based on technology driving something with entertainment, and like project way out. You're young, you're gonna live with the way that health is gonna go, you might live 200 years for all we know. So project way, way out. What's the best possible thing that could ever happen based on all the technology advancements for the entertainment industry?
Wow, that's such a big question. Community, I think, is huge, and with the rate that we're growing within technology and just as a race, and the power, really like honing in on power and purpose, and how can we make our world at large a better place. And with, like, most of us are entrepreneurs and invested in technology at some point, at some level. So what does that look like to really find the gaps of what our world at large, mentally, physically, technologically, like finding those gaps and really providing a solution for all of those things. And I think entertainment, if you look at, like, even politicians will ask artists to link arms with each other. So there's such the line between medicine and education and business and arts and entertainment and politics are really disintegrating in a sense, and it's becoming this mass movement of people that are changing each sector of society at large. So I think, honestly, like, linking arms, that's my passion, is to see those hands connected within each sector.
And the final question.
Yeah.
How are you part of the solution of fighting isolation, of driving toward community, and maybe more importantly than just you and the impact you're making on the world? How does this room make a difference? How does this live audience that's online make a difference? How do they fight isolation? How do they drive toward community? Like, be our leader, cast this vision for what we're supposed to do.
Yeah, I think identity is the biggest thing, because where your eyes are is where your vision goes, and what you're receiving information is what is processing in your mind and in your heart. So honestly, taking a step back, I think sometimes it takes the courage and the strength to stop and ask yourself the why. And what am I doing? Why am I here? What am I passionate about? What makes me angry? What makes me excited? And really finding that vision, because when that why question is found and is moved upon, then it completely eliminates competition, because I need you to succeed in what you're called to do. And you need me to move in my true identity and what I'm called to do, instead of climbing to the top and stepping on toes to get there. And I think a huge part of that is vulnerability too, and really being real. As an artist, it's kind of abnormal to be fully yourself on and off stage. There's a lot of personas, which is not a bad thing at all. It's just like a part of where our industry is. But my heart is to be fully me on and off stage. No matter where I am, I don't change. No matter who I'm with, I don't change. And I think it's hard because as humans, we read a room and we know when we're being rejected and when we're being praised. And getting to a place mentally and emotionally where that doesn't matter. Whether you receive me or not, I'm gonna love you, period. Because what else are we here to do than love and change the world? And without connection, that can't be done. And without vulnerability, that can't be done.
So good. One addition to that question about being part of the solution, like, who do you follow? Who are your leaders? Like, who is actually driving toward the solution of technology, creating community, and fighting vulnerability? Like, who are you chasing after?
Yeah, that's another really big question. There's a lot of artists in the industry that I look up to and see really taking a stand. I think Chance the Rapper is somebody that I really admire, the way that he's kind of rewriting and reimagining the way that the industry has always been done, and being independent as an artist. And I mean, honestly, I'm very inspired by the community that I'm in Nashville. So my mentors, I have a close group of mentors that are far older than I am and have lived a lot more years than I have. And kind of what you were talking about on the live stream, like, I found so much purpose in that, and just in the faith realm too, finding a bigger purpose than myself. And why am I here? Is it for me? Is it for you? Or is it for a higher purpose? And that's, finding those people have been massive in my growth, to really look above myself, because it's not about me. Yeah. And it's not about us individually. And yeah, it's about a greater cause and a greater purpose. And I want to be a part of promoting that. Yeah.
That's so good. Well, thank you for being with us. I want to say your new single Wildfire is amazing.
Thank you.
I know your new music video is coming out.
Yes.
You know, not just you, but all the other 8 speakers here, all of you are coming as a favor to me. Meaning all of you are coming as a favor to you. You see, the ticket cost is just to pay for some of the food. And so it's like so special that you would come here, not demanding or asking of anything, just coming to give hope and inspiration. I feel like you did that tonight. And I asked this audience live, the audience tuned in online, to support you and to give back to you as you've kind of freely given to us. May we kind of run after helping you, telling your message, downloading Wildfire, watching the video, getting excited about it. And so thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Ian.
Yes.
You're amazing. Thank you all.
So our next speaker is going to head up, and we're not taking breaks. What I'm going to do in between speakers, and as soon as you're ready, come on up, and we'll get started. Great. And so Michael Clifford is heading up, and Michael Clifford is.
I may not be able to get up if I sit down on this.
I'll give you a hand. I'll hold your hand.
How you doing, brother?
Michael Clifford. Michael Clifford is a hero to me. With my personality, I make jokes that I'm a visionary delegator. I cast vision so I don't have to be accountable, because you can't hold me accountable in the future. And I delegate because I don't actually do anything. I just create work for other people. When I look at other people that have my personality, I am often not encouraged by their life, by their family, by the decisions that they make. I often look at people with my personality that are 10, 20, 30 years down the road, and I think I understand what Matthew McConaughey said when he got his Academy Award. It's like, I'm inspired by me in 10 years because everybody else liked me. I'm not so sure I want to be like that. I found something different in my relationship with you. I found that with Michael, with all the joking, I found that with you, Michael, it's like, wow, I can be a connector, and I can create things, and I can bring people together, and I can do things that really matter in the world, and I can still have a vibrant family, and I can still focus on my spiritual life, on my emotional life, and be a good human and care for others. I find that to be true with you. Michael has an incredible background with education, helped bring 2 companies public in 2008, 2009. 2008 was Grand Canyon University. 2009 was Bridgepoint. He recently has worked to launch WazU as well as Bethel Tech, and that's just a few of dozens, if not hundreds, of very significant projects that Michael has worked on. So Michael, you're here to talk about the future of education. We just had a live stream with all 9 speakers in the Igloo, so I assume that you hadn't seen what we've streamed for the last 3 hours, you should definitely watch that live stream, as well as the folks tuned in now, especially what Michael shared about an hour ago. It was powerful, powerful, powerful. So let's get started. On the future of education, what are you most concerned about that could potentially happen that would be destructive for people with technology in your industry?
There's a bunch. There's a bunch. But first of all, how many people went to school? Raise your hand. How many people? Very smart crowd here. How many people feel that they got what they paid for? Oh, 4 people. So that's probably the biggest crisis in education today, is that the escalating cost, the amount of time, the regulatory encumbrances, and our whole education system from K through 12 is this big monolithic machine that was started during the Industrial Revolution, and it's dragging people down. It's killing creativity, it's stifling innovation, and it's so big and it's so massive, and it's creating an enormous amount of debt, $1.4 trillion worth of debt. Many people will get out of college at 25 and die at 70 or 80 still owing student debt. Many people can't buy a home because of student debt or buy a car. So the whole thing needs to be completely shut down and restarted, which is almost impossible to do because of unions and because of regulations and so many different entrenched things. And I love entrepreneurs that I met here that have started software boot camps, that have created alternative forms of accelerated education. So that's the hopeful side, is that there are people breaking out of the box. There are great college presidents trying to make changes. Tenure is difficult to change. Unions are difficult. But employers now are starting to realize, as artificial intelligence comes into play, that they've got to give employees an hour a day or 90 minutes a day to learn something, okay? A company is going to fall way behind if an employee gets a job and keeps working 8, 9, 10 hours a day and doesn't do any learning at all. So learning, corporate learning, is going to have to become a big, big part of the workforce mentality. And it's the only way human beings can compete with artificial intelligence. So the biggest challenge probably facing our industry, and I don't consider myself an education industry person, I'm more of an entrepreneur and a catalyst for new ideas, and I look for management teams, and I look for investors, and I look for a marketing plan to launch something new. The threat of artificial intelligence, the monolithic regulatory structure, all that is going to be very disruptive in our lifetimes.
Who is mitigating the risk right now? Who's not trying to drive toward a good solution? They're just trying to protect us from something horrific happening. Talk about who's mitigating the risk right now in your industry of education.
Well, there are a lot of startups in the Valley that are trying to deliver education in a very efficient way and very high-powered way, but nobody's really cracked the code on it. We were fortunate enough to be a part of working with Steve Wozniak to start WazU around technology and creating a new model of re-engineering education, more of a lifelong learning. What we're starting to see is we're seeing high school kids that are, juniors and seniors in high school. They're looking at a 4 or 5 year bachelor's degree. They're looking at the amount of cost involved, how expensive it is, but more importantly, they're looking over this ivy wall going, my gosh, is there gonna be a job for me? Am I gonna have purpose in my life? They want me to declare my major, in the first 6 months of school. I'm still trying to find the dormitory and where I'm going. And they come into a an accelerated learning environment like WazU, and there's lots of great schools around, where in 12 to 18 weeks, they learn a very specific skill like Java or project management or iOS mobile, a very specific skill. They're probably 60% proficient, maybe 70% proficient, but the big companies are smart. They'll take somebody who only has 12 to 18 weeks, somebody that is 60 or 70% proficient, but they'll give them a job for $55,000 or $60,000 a year, and they'll continue to upskill them and build with them. And so I'm seeing this model change where it was college, hope to get a job, to where immersive learning, 2, 3, 4 months, boom, I've got a good paying job, I've got healthcare benefits, the company I'm working for, if I'm working for GoDaddy, they're gonna pay for me to go get my bachelor's degree. So I think the model's gonna shift pretty quickly, and I don't think it's just in technology. Big demand right now, 1 million jobs available in the United States for entry-level developers, but there are currently 42,000, $60,000 a year jobs available for line cooks, okay, to work as line cooks. There's 60,000 entry-level jobs at Marriott to be a front desk person, but nobody's teaching anyone how to do those jobs, okay? And one of the things we're trying to do in some of our businesses is how do we make being a line cook cool, okay? A lot of kids say, you know, I don't want to be a line cook at the local Hilton, but you know what? Wolfgang Puck started as a line cook. So did Emerald. So did, everybody has to start at the bottom or start somewhere. Why not learn a skill, get a job, and keep focusing on your purpose in life?
I'm gonna switch up the last question. I wanna say it specific like this. No boundaries, gloves off, doesn't matter what anybody thinks. If you could just change the life of one person by saying something extreme and aggressive, by talking about the solution and people actually doing something different, actually stepping out, like give it to us, like Uncle Michael.
I'm not the Dalai Lama. I would say, for me, I'm 63 years old. I'm a lot older than most of the people. I know what it is to have that burning desire to make money. I made 100 million. I lost 100 million. I know how hard it is to stay married. Marriage is the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. The second hardest thing is kids. I have 4 wonderful, fantastic kids and a great wife. I always say my wife stayed with me after she got her sight and her hearing back. It's an old Henny Youngman joke. But I think focus on walking in righteousness, in peace, and in joy. If you could make those your compass, live your life righteously, live your life full of joy, and live your life in peace, and figure out how to do that, everything else falls into place.
Wow, so powerful. Thank you so much for being here.
I'm getting thrown out already.
You're out of here. You are out of here. As he walks down, if I could get a couple more waters, I would certainly appreciate it. The next person that will be coming up, come on and head on up. While we're waiting, let me promote a company called Steeped. My friend Josh Wilbur has started Steeped. We have Steeped coffee in the back. I hope that this provides a really significant international opportunity that's different than what Keurig brings to the market for single-serve coffee. I think that this is a real solution. No equipment necessary, no possible for mold. You get to use the freshest water you want. You put this steeped coffee in your cup, and all of a sudden, you have a fresh, hot, delicious cup of coffee. I'm not paid to say this. I don't own the company. I believe in the company, and I hope that you will get behind it. They're on Kickstarter right now, and I encourage you to go on Kickstarter and support them. Little commercial as somebody comes up. Laura, thank you for joining us.
Absolutely, thank you for having me.
You have such an incredible reputation. You and I haven't had a chance to spend much time together. We got to talk on the phone for a bit. I was at the beach. I call the beach my office because I figure if I'm going to fiddle around my phone and make calls and send text messages, I might as well look at the ocean while I'm doing it. And we had a really passionate and wonderful conversation together. And we were talking about your industry, intellectual property, law, all things legal, and where things are going. I was fascinated by the things that you shared as we kind of had that mastermind with all the speakers today. So since I don't know you well enough to prop you up as the ultimate hero of all time, would you please introduce yourself to our audience so they have a better context for who you are in your own words, if you don't mind?
Sure. My name is Laura Schlesinger. I am a founding partner of Venture Gained Legal. We work primarily with startups, and I've also worked with a lot of the larger tech companies in the Valley. I do mostly intellectual property, not patents, so trademarks, copyright, anything in that area, as well as advertising law, and we work with startups from the ground up in pretty much everything they could possibly need. And so I consider myself an entrepreneur in addition to being an attorney.
Yeah. Well, you have a phenomenal reputation. People were telling me about you, and then as I was talking with you about kind of our mutual friend groups, everybody's like, oh, she's the best. You're going to have her. Wow, you're so fortunate. So I'm grateful that you're here. I'm excited to hear what you have to say. And so I'm going to ask some questions. I'm going to listen. So let me start with, what are you concerned about when it comes to technology in all things law and legal? Like, what are you feeling is a real concern? Like, what do you think we should actually be attacking and taking care of right now?
Oh gosh, I mean, and that's such a huge question. There's so many different directions you can go with that. One of my concerns, I feel like I have this dystopic moment every time you see those posts on Facebook when they say, you know, Facebook has changed its terms of service. If you don't repost this, they're going to own all of your copyright and everything in your house and your firstborn child and all of this, and they refer to some non-existent statute. And everybody shares it, and they expect that somebody over at Facebook is actually culling through every single Facebook member's entire feed to see if they ever posted it. And the virality with which legal misinformation is shared is really appalling. I mean, and that goes for all types of information today, obviously. But I think that one of the things that I've found challenging is my clients, and just people I've spoken to in the community, they're not lawyers. They don't want to be lawyers. It's a very opaque profession. And when you don't know what you don't know, it can be really difficult to make good decisions in that. So when we have all this additional misinformation out there and bad advice, and there's so much content out there, it actually makes it harder for people to make good choices.
How are you attacking these problems? How are you mitigating the risk of what's going wrong and certainly what could go wrong? And how about your peers? Like your network, what are you doing right to deal with the concern of where we're going?
Sure, and you know, we have a lot of concerns. I think our primary concern is delivering really good value legal services to the specific types of clients that we have. And so one example of something practical that we've done, we're always looking for ways that we can build in efficiency, and a lot of that you know, is using technology solutions, and some of it is not. But so for example, my specialty is trademarks. Like, that's one of my specialties. My business partner, who is an amazing attorney, but her specialty is not trademarks. However, she does trademarks on occasion for clients where that's just, you know, they need 5 million things and a little trademark over here, and she'll do it. But I found out at some point that she's billing probably twice as much for trademarks as I am, not in the amount, but she takes much longer than me because she's not as experienced as I am. And I'm like, you make twice as much as me for trademarks because you're not as good at them? And I was just like, that's not right. And so, I mean, I think that for us, what we did, I was like, we're coming up with a flat fee trademark. So we're introducing flat fee trademarks. We've got a way you can pretty much order them online, that sort of thing, because I'm like, that's not fair to pass that on to our client.
And what's the cost for that?
So a flat fee trademark, there's the trademark USPTO fee, which is $225, and then our fee, I think, is $549. So it's $774 total, which I've heard large firms quoting thousands of dollars for one trademark. I still, to this day, cannot figure out what that goes towards.
If anybody here could get a trademark service for free, would you want it? Would you want to trademark something? Right? Does anybody want to trademark an idea, a business, anything like that? Well, we're going to give away a free trademark because you've been so kind as to offer that. And so we're going to give a free trademark away today. We have the raffle tickets, and we paid the USPTO fee, and you're providing the service. So thank you for doing that. I just want to stop and like acknowledge, like you're so kind. You came to give to us, and you keep wanting to give. So thank you for that.
Yeah, no problem.
What are you most hopeful about when it comes to legal law IP protection as technology is changing faster than attorneys can keep up? What are you hoping that technology itself actually makes the difference? How does technology, if things go right, how does technology close the gap and actually empower attorneys to keep up with it as an actual thing? Like, what can happen that's good?
There's a lot. One thing I want to talk about is that, law, and I think this is true for tech too, is law is not unto itself, right? Law is to support certain other goals in society. So it's to support justice, and it's to support advocacy, and it's to support, business and innovation. So you entrepreneurs out there, you're trying to build businesses and innovate and do amazing things, and we are resources to enable you to do that. So I kind of look at, law is not just, we wouldn't exist without everybody else, right? So one example of something that I've seen, this is not as much relevant to the entrepreneurs, but I had the opportunity to host a hackathon in conjunction with a large international ministry. It was their first hackathon. They didn't even know what it meant. I had to explain what a hackathon was. They thought it sounded very violent. But it was really cool because there was a bunch of techies in the area, and the kids loved it. And so we presented them with problems from some of the local nonprofit organizations that needed, they're always shy of resources, right? And they could use some maybe technologists to come in with fresh solutions. So the winner of the hackathon, the problem that they solved was there's an organization called Exodus Cry, and they fight human trafficking and that sort of thing. And so one of the things that they do is they'll try to save girls that have been put on the streets. Maybe they were kidnapped, maybe they made bad choices, but they're being prostituted. And one of the things that the team actually has to do is get into a boardroom all together, pull out their laptops, and go on Backpage and Craigslist and these icky sites and look through all the pictures to see. They're like, hey, the police told us this girl just went missing. So they think that she might be on the streets. We have to look through all these pictures to see if we find her. The winner of the hackathon created, and this was a few years ago, something that would crawl these sites, and using facial recognition technology could begin to say, this might be her. We think we might have found her. So there was less, pictures of these girls that the team members actually had to look through. And so supporting certainly social justice goals and the law enforcement and all of that was huge. So I think that there are a lot of, dreaming big in those technological solutions is really important. You can be solving real problems. Now, we know that facial recognition technology is used on all of our social media and all of that sort of stuff all day long in way less maybe noble applications. So it'd be great if we can put that in the hands of people that are doing really amazing things.
I think oftentimes people look at professional athletes and they're like, okay, well, I don't have that gift. At least if I do, I didn't cultivate it. I'm not going pro in any sport. I think people think of law in the same way. It's like, I didn't go and do the bar. I don't have a JD. Like, I didn't play that sport. I have no idea how to be involved. I don't know how to make a difference. I don't even know who to talk to. I don't know what solutions there are. So first of all of you here and streaming online, you can get a hold of Laura and her partner, Venture Gained Legal. There's one solution. But can you talk about a few other solutions that this room and this audience can actually access that will help this be demystified?
Demystified.
Whatever you want to share. Before we wrap up, I'm just hoping you could kind of share a thing or a couple things that we can have as kind of solutions for not making the future of law feel so distant from our grasp.
I think one thing, I don't encourage people to go out and try to learn law. It's such a vast, I don't know a lot of law. I know the areas that I work in really well, and then there's tons of stuff I don't know. So I would in order to make decisions within your own lives, within the context that you're working, if you're an entrepreneur, for example, try to learn a little bit about whatever law impacts you, so that when you are looking for legal counsel, you can make better decisions. I mean, I think the clients that have a little bit of background are the ones that I work best with, because we can get right to the point and start solving problems. And they're also can contribute more. Like, you'll be able to say, hey, it'd be great if we can work this way or we can work that way. Whereas if you have absolutely no context, I think it's just hard. And whatever you do, don't bury your head in the sand if you're afraid of legal costs or working with an attorney. There's some really great people out there that are used to working with entrepreneurs and are down to earth and all of that.
Thank you so much, Laura, for being here. I so appreciate you. And thank you for sharing.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, we're gonna bring the next speaker up. And then I'm gonna have some waters. And if one of the amazing Wonder Women in the back could bring me one of Noah Elias's Fear Hunter books on the table, as well as a couple cough drops out of my briefcase, that would be wonderful. So as the next speaker is about ready to come up, I just want to talk about fear. I have a tendency to not acknowledge any fear in my life. I have basically suppressed any sort of fear, anxiety, insecurity, shame. I just won't give it a voice. And my friend, who I look up to and I chase after, Noah Elias, who's about ready to come up, he wrote this book called Fear Hunters. Come on up, my friend. Let's give Noah a hand. Talking about trademarks, Noah himself has the trademark for the American artist.
Yeah.
And thank you. I'll take that one too. Thank you. And so Trademark Service, you trademarked American Artist. Congratulations. You're such a stud. Who would have thought of that? So Noah writes this book, Fear Hunters, and he sends it to me as I'm ready to go camping. And I have it on my phone. And I'm like four chapters in, and at the end of the chapter, he has all these calls to action. And I'm like, no, I don't have any of that stuff. I'm not afraid. And then eventually it hit me. I'm like, I think I'm just like suppressing fear. And I think you made it okay. And you kind of started this process in my life where I thought to myself, why am I suppressing fear if it's there? It's going to come out one way or another. Like, why don't I just deal with the fact that there are things I'm afraid of? There are things I'm insecure about. There are things I am ashamed of. There are things I'm disappointed in. Like, why don't I just say it's there, attack it, deal with it? And you actually gave tools to deal with that very thing. So I just wanted to encourage people to check out Fear Hunters. And also, Noah has created so much content through art and creativity and conferences and online courses. It would take me hours just to promote all the crazy stuff that you do. You're my friend. I love you so very much. I'm so glad that you're here.
Thanks.
And so let's kick it off.
Yeah.
What are you concerned about with technology for creativity?
That it won't be capitalized on. It's a currency. I think we're 100% dealing with a supernatural world, and the fact that we have fears, we have insecurities, we're wired that way, we're spiritual people. And the greatest thing that could happen in that battle is to shut all of us down from our voices being heard, including that. So it's funny how that goes off right now as we're talking. So here's what I think is amazing. We're all here on purpose. Very few will actually find out what that purpose is. And once they find out that purpose and what that story is, very few are actually going to look at ways to scale that. I took it upon myself after living in an analog world, growing up in the 80s as a kid, going door to door, handing out business cards on a bike. I literally would walk into a barber shop and say, hey, do you need a new sign? That's marketing in analog. I would have to hand out stuff for people to come to my galleries and show up. So we don't live in that age anymore. Right now I can do a sketch, and I do sketches, and for my blog and tell my story, I'll do a sketch and it'll go out online and somebody will buy it on the other side of the world. Everybody has that opportunity to do it, but very few capitalize on that. The biggest thing that scares me is that people are just going to miss out on 95% of income, freedom, time, and that's the currency that we live in. Your time is your currency. And you can get more time in your world by scaling and using technology to be able to help benefit your life. And most of you will say, hey, you know what, I'm not an entrepreneur. But you know what? Your skill set of what you have actually changes somebody in your world that is around you. Come alongside that person. Leverage your expertise. Help put wind in their sail. Use some technology to do that. It will happen. So what happened with me was it worked. The biggest thing that I see happening, which is probably the question I keep hearing, you like, what are you doing to mitigate it? Entrepreneurs in this next generation need incredible instruction and mentors to help show them the way. And nobody's doing it. I could not find online somebody show me how to scale my business, take my story, take what's happened to me, wounds, the underbelly, and everything else in life, and actually package that and go and help heal the world. And then help AIDS orphans in South Africa. And then help build other businesses. And then help nobody was teaching that to be done. And so I finally built it. Nobody showed me how to build an online course. And I wanted to be able to help. I just saw so many young entrepreneurs, so many people with a great idea that had no tools, no skill set, and no idea of how to get it to market and how to reach the world with their story. Your story is your greatest asset, no matter how ugly it is. And that can be leveraged to heal the world. And you can change your company to an actual cause.
As a creative, I see you as like one of the most brilliant creative minds that not only has this gift, but actually executes. I'd like you to execute a vision of specifically technology that scares us. Like, I just want you to get creative for a minute and just paint a picture that is just frightening about what could happen with technology.
Yeah.
Because
I'll tell you right now.
I want people to feel something.
Yeah.
I want them to feel that we better deal with this. Yeah. And I think you're the right
why
person.
Why everybody's scared? Because they're afraid of being found out.
So good.
Everybody's scared to actually say what you want to say online. You're afraid of dropping the fig leaf and bearing your soul and actually saying what you actually think. But everybody's scared because if they do, they're going to lose followers. If they lose followers, they don't belong. If they don't belong, they don't have purpose. And the biggest thing of all is if I put $50 million in your bank, you'd wake up the next day either one with purpose or without. And if you had $50 million in the bank, you don't have to lose money. So you're really not going to care about what other people think or say of you. So now you're actually going to be real. So those are the kind of conversations you have to start talking about in yourself. Really, if I had that kind of resources and backing, would I really care about what I'm going to say today? I'm going to be unapologetic. I'm going to literally bare my soul online. I'm going to start companies I've always wanted to start. I'm going to say exactly what I want to say. I'm going to go help people that I've always wanted to help. But the reason why we don't do that now is because we don't have that capital. So we're afraid that if we actually are real, that we're going to lose, when it's actually the opposite. If you're real, you're actually going to win. Follow me?
Saying it and getting wows is powerful. Prove it.
Prove it?
Prove it.
Because I've done it.
So tell us
And
about
it's
that.
freaking terrifying. But you know what? I'd rather go to bed an absolute failure than go to bed with regret. And that's what everybody's going, dude, that's our problem. People, you use the word, we were talking about it, Justin and I, polish and the word purpose. It's basically your calling. For me, I know who's my caller. And that's my relationship with God. That's my why. I want to lead everybody to a conversation with that, to let them know that you matter, you are loved, you're here on purpose, and how do we wake up that story? And that's why I wrote a flipping book about it. I'm not a book publisher. I have no flipping idea how to write a book. I just wrote, and I started writing and talked to other people that knew how to do it. Hey, you know anybody? Yeah, I know an editor. Great. That's collaboration. That's how it starts to happen. Overcome fear, overcome fear, overcome fear. Everybody's staring at these big, massive tigers, and they're made out of paper. Wow. Just flip and cut through them. Because here's the thing. You will not get this back. Yeah. I hope that you walk out of here tonight and realize how flippin' small you've been playing. And so we live in a world of this, 1s and 2s and 9s and 10s. Because technology is just going to keep sliding that needle way the heck out. That's good. And so you can remain a 1 or 2 or a 9 or 10. And I'll fall flat on my face, look like an idiot, embarrass myself at the cost of helping somebody in South Africa, a special needs AIDS orphan, helping my son, helping my daughter. Yes, I would love a better life to get my needs met. But really, dude, how much flippin' needs do you have to have met?
That's good.
Sorry, dude. I'm
gonna hit you with one last kind of unique. I'm gonna hit you with a unique question because you brought up God a couple of times. Yeah. Now, not everybody here believes in God. I'm assuming, and people have different.
Pretty good ratio if everybody did.
And I'm assuming that regardless of people's theism, agnosticism, atheism, and what camp they live in, it's a bit different for all of us. But I just want to set the stage and then ask you this question. God, if he is, didn't ask for permission. He just created, right? And even if the story is true that we find like in the biblical narrative as an example, you know, creates Adam and Eve, creates two boys, Cain and Abel, one kills the other. Yeah. So out of the first four people, one killed the other. Yeah. It's a bad beginning. Yeah. But God redeemed Cain in the narrative, in the story. And you find that no matter what people create, it just seems like God, destiny, whatever it is, it just constantly gets redeemed. We create weapons, well, it gets redeemed for us to protect people with it. We create transportation, it gets redeemed for people to be able to go and visit and do things. We create technology, iPhones, and we use it for good, right? We use it to help. We create currency. So it feels to me like what people have created has been used to be redeemed in a sense. And you brought up a spiritual thread throughout your thing. So when you think about the solutions of things being redeemed, what do you think in this room, on this stream, people do not believe will be redeemed? They think, no, there's no way that this part of technology is going to be good for humanity. It's only bad. What do you think it is? And give us a counterpart. No way, it can totally be redeemed.
It can be redeemed. Creativity is a weapon. Technology is a weapon. It can either be used for good, it can be used for bad. I won't put this on you. I'll just put this on my conviction of what compels me to get out of bed on a daily basis, is the fact that if we use the Stephen Covey model of beginning with the end in mind, and I look at the end of my life, I'm not going to be compared to anybody. Between God and I, he's not going to say, you and your parents, you and other artists, you and other entrepreneurs, you and other, no, it's me and him. I have to show account for my life. What did you do with your time, talent, and treasure while you were here? Technology is a big part of that. Before it was a bike, door to door. Now it's reached the world. The bigger question that you guys need to be asking yourselves is, are you leveraging creativity for good or for bad? That's the first question. Second of all, are you being 100% authentic with it? Or are you just hiding as posers? That's the biggest thing. Everybody out there is serving up fast food content. Tastes great, looks great, has no sustainability. Give me something worth sharing. And you'll change the world. But you know what? Everybody would rather watch a train wreck. Everybody would rather look at fast food content that is just destructive because then it makes you actually feel better about yourself. And people are making a lot of money off that. It will take you more effort, more time to come up with original content of creativity to change the world. And that is a tough nut to crack. But you know what? That is the only way I can tell you I can go to bed without any regrets. I'd rather spend all day failing as a professional failure on going big than playing small.
You're out of here, my friend. Your time is done. And I still love you, but you got to move on.
You want to take these?
No, leave them. Fear Hunters is on Amazon. Follow Noah. He has like 4,500 different social media accounts for all the things he does. It's not hard to find him. As the next speaker comes up, I just want to give Ghost Hand Productions an applause. Ghost Hand Productions came here. Let's just say thank you for all the stuff that they set up, right? I mean, because of them, you can watch this live stream. Because of them, this high quality content's being captured. We can reuse it over and over and over again. They brought this incredible team and did it for you and for you that are streaming online. So Ghost Hand Productions, my friend Doug Ferris runs Ghost Hand Productions. He is the yin to my yang. We have a ton of fun doing projects together. He runs my favorite media agency, and if you need anything done with live events or media, audio, video, they are the most legit, most trusted media company in my world. So, Rachel, thank you so much for joining us. Rachel is not on the schedule because she just got added last night. When I found out that Rachel could come, I was like, wow, really? You could come all the way from around the world, right? You're from Bristol, UK. Bristol, UK was just named the #1 smart city in all of UK. It just surpassed London. That's right. Little, just excitement for UK. Specifically for Bristol, the city that you're in. And my wife and I, we've spent time, my wife's a musician, so we've toured around the world doing her music, and we spent time in Bristol, and so I'm familiar with the city. But you, when I met you recently, I go, you might have the best reputation of anybody in kind of our network. I'm like, I don't know if you've ever done anything wrong. It's like everybody just constantly talks about this world-changing thing, this incredible thing that you're doing, how you're making a difference. And so when I found out you were coming, I thought, oh man, like I got to make room. I'll move people aside. I'll shorten up time. Just to give you a chance, to give you a stage to inspire everybody here.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Could you introduce yourself briefly?
Yeah.
Who you are, what you do, and then we'll kind of dive into your thought on the future of technology and how it affects cities like San Francisco.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. So my name's Rachel Milano. As Ian said, I'm from the UK, and I am an advisor to the Mayor of Bristol. So I will give you a little bit of context about Bristol, as I assume most people here are from America or around the world watching are Americans. So we are a city of around 500,000 people. We were recently voted the kindest city to live in the UK and the best city to live in the UK. And of course, we overtook London as the leading smart city in the UK. We have 2 universities. One of our universities frequently is in the top 10 universities in the country. We maintain and keep most of our graduates, which is really unheard of as a city. And we have tons of tech startups in our city. And we want to be the Silicon Valley of Europe. And we are actually considered by many to already be that. And we're well on the way to doing that. So yeah, there's a little bit about us. And I'm here on behalf of the mayor. He's given me permission to represent him here. So I'm just, by the end of today, and by the end of my 10 minutes, you're all going to want to move to Bristol. Let me tell you. Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit about the mayor? I mean, to be the mayor's advisor, like that's a significant decision with your life. Like, I'm going to spend my time serving this politician. I believe in his mission. Can you just talk a bit about who he is, his character, why you're behind him? Like, I just want you to just make a big noise about how amazing he is. Because again, he's another man that just has this awesome reputation. The more I hear about him, the more I want to meet him myself.
Yeah, Google him. He's probably going to be the next prime minister in maybe, well, not the next, maybe in 8 years. We'll give him some time. His name's Marvin Rees. He came from a really poor family. He is from African descent, from slaves actually, I think, and originally. And we're a city that was built on slavery. So it's super ironic that he was the first European African descent mayor to be elected ever of a European city, and we are a city that made its money on slavery back in the day. So it's a real story full of redemption, but he was brought up by a single mother. He was brought up in women's refuges around the city, super humble guy. I helped him run his campaign. We were the underdogs. We weren't supposed to win. I know we're streaming, so I'm just going to be careful what I say, but we ran a very clean campaign in the face of a very dirty opposition. And he was he is a man of real integrity and decided to run a very clean campaign. And that was something that was the core of our campaign, and we won by a landslide. And we have had a very inclusive, part of our thing is real inclusivity in the city, that we want to involve everyone in what we're doing. So, you know, the issue of tech, we just don't want to see anyone left behind in the city. So that's something, that's kind of one of the things that I want to talk about, actually.
Yeah. Well, why don't we do this? If you're the #1 smart city in UK, I would assume that you have the greatest chance for failure, falling flat on your face, and having technology basically bite you. You also have the greatest chance for success because you're already ahead of the curve. Can you just talk about, like, as you project 8 years from now, let's say you're going to have some new prime minister, 8 years from now, start to project 8 years. What is the worst possible thing that technology could do to actually be destructive in your city and in your country? And what's the best possible thing? Like, just paint like the two pictures of what could happen for city transformation based on technology's influence.
Well, I am a hopeless optimist. So I'm a millennial, and I refuse to be sucked into the pessimistic system of politics. So as an advisor, I'm always trying to push an optimistic position. So I don't want to spend too long on the pessimistic, because I have some really cool optimistic stuff that I want to talk about. But I guess the dystopian view is particularly around the area of the loss of jobs, right? So we know that, and we've heard people talk about this before, that the tech industry is accelerating at a massive rate. We commissioned a report recently that in the UK that found out that 748,000 jobs are going to be required of people with digital skills in the very near future. We don't have that currently like this. We don't have that right now. So we need to start training those people, and we need to start training them now. Also, we need to start getting people from specific sectors. So we don't want a city that is siloed, where we have a tech area. Okay, so this side of the city is where the tech people are. This side of the city is where the refugees are. This side of the city is where the black people live. This is where the rich people live. This is where the construction workers live. Oh no, actually construction industry is now dead. So, this side of the city is now in poverty, and all the rich tech people. We don't want that. So we've got to find a way where we can integrate everyone and start thinking outside of the box to training people in these new skills and getting people integrated. So that's worst case scenario, I think. I mean, there's a million worst case scenarios that we're planning for, because we're seeing this. We've seen this coming down the road for a long time, so we're not naive to it. But I only have 10 minutes, so I don't want to waste it on talking about the worst case scenarios.
Go for it.
So let's go for the
cast a vision. What can a city do? What's San Francisco be doing? What is Bristol doing?
Okay. One of the things that we are doing is we have a project that we're running right now called Bristol is Open. And basically, it is like it sounds. We are open. We're open for business. So as a leading smart city, we have something going on right now, which is a partnership between Bristol City Council and Bristol University. So Bristol University is at the forefront of tech. Bristol University hosts Bristol Robotics Laboratory, which is the leading robotics center for robotics research for the UK. So we're at the forefront of tech anyway for the UK, right? So Bristol is Open is this partnership which has resulted in smart city R&D, communication technology, which is made available all around the city. So we're laying fibers all around the city, and we're integrating different wireless technologies on trying to integrate them on one, one mesh net?
Yeah.
Is that the word? And so we're trying to take it to a new level all around the city to create a connectivity. And then we are inviting in startups and other companies to come in and trial their technology in a real live sort of environment. So we're saying, hey, don't just trial your technology in a lab, come and trial it in a real life city. So we're saying, like, Bristol is open, so we want you to come and innovate with us in our city. So this is one way that we're doing this, and we're saying even better, if you want to start creating, if you want to come and you want to start having accelerator programs, training programs, but you want to start partnering with kids from inner city areas, we want you to come start doing that, and we will make a way for that to happen in our city. So I know I don't have much time left, but I have some other cool things that we're doing. So housing.
Take advantage of the last bit of time and just wrap it up And if you want to have a call to action, some people are streaming probably from the UK. How do they get involved? Some people here, they might be looking to say, hey, I'm ready to leave San Francisco. I'm just passing through. Like, Bristol sounds exciting. Like, invite us to get involved. Invite them to get involved. Like, capitalize on this last moment.
I will, don't you worry. Got my pitch all set. So housing is something that we as a city have a real issue with. So we've started thinking outside of the box. So we're creating modular housing, and we've got prefab technology. We are partnering with a robotics company in the city that creates robotic furniture. So you know, you press a button and it turns into like a bedroom, you press another button, it turns into like a living room, you press another button, it turns into a kitchen. We've found what do you call it? We have found a company that works with ex-offenders, and we're saying, why don't we give you the contract? And you then, basically, you take the contract for that. So it works for you, for the ex-offenders. So we're keeping you from reoffending. You're now learning a new skill. You're building houses for everybody. Like, it basically is just working for the whole economy. What if we start teaching women coming out of trafficking to code once they've come out? What if we start re-envisioning society so that everybody is winning? What if we start thinking outside of the box? The digital revolution has happened, but the issue now is, what are we building towards? And how are we as society and as city leaders actually building? So I have more I could say, but what I want to say to you is next year, Bristol is hosting something called the Global Parliament of Mayors. And it's going to be, it's 80 to 100 mayors from around the world coming to Bristol. We're hosting a 2.5-day conference. It's leading mayors, okay, from leading cities around the world. We're talking mayor of LA, last year it was mayor of Melbourne, mayor of Kuala Lumpur, mayors of leading cities around the world. As the tech sector, so as Silicon Valley, if I could invite you on behalf of the mayor to come and sit down in front of 80 to 100 of the world's leading mayors, what would you say to them? What could we not do to change the world if we took the tech sector and we took 100 of the world's leading mayors and we collaborated together and we started thinking innovatively outside of the box? By the way, did you know that every week 1 million people are moving to cities more than the week before, which means that by the year 2050, 2/3 of the world's planet will be living in cities. So we can't ignore this. So 21st to the 23rd of October next year, hundreds of the world's leading mayors hopefully will be in Bristol. Hopefully we'll get 100 of them. Come, be part of it. Connect with us.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Can you thank Rachel for coming out here from around the world? So before Robert Bigler comes up, I'd like somebody from Hoverboard to bring 2 of the GeoBlades up. I'd like a GeoBlade right here. I'd like a GeoBlade right there. Take your time, but please bring 2 GeoBlades up right now. While we're waiting for Robert to come up, boys, I have my 2 boys right here. Can you guys bring your iPads? Come on, come up here. They didn't know I was gonna bring them up, but yeah, come up. I just want you to say hi. You can come sit on my lap. Come up here, baby. So this is my oldest son, Malachi. He's 8 years old. This is my youngest, Kenton. And because of their mama, Jonna, they are the most wonderful children. I give my wife the credit for how wonderful they are. And again, bring the hoverboards on up. Bring the 2 hoverboards in these 2 corners before Robert comes up. What I want to say about family is that family matters. You see, my family's lived in San Francisco Bay Area for 10 generations. So my 2 boys now are 11th generation residents of San Francisco. And so cities matter because cities are built on families. When it was just somebody coming on a ship, landing, and being an entrepreneur, and actually coming up and starting something. And we get to build on top of what other people have done, right? So Rachel is building on the legacy that was already laid in Bristol. All of you are building on the legacy that has already been built for generation after generation after generation in San Francisco. And I think back to my ancestor, Lieutenant Moraga, and I think to myself, wow, look what's happened in 10 generations since he landed. And then I think, what's it going to be like 10 generations from now? That's one reason why I'm doing this event. That's one reason why I have these speakers come up. It's a reason why I'm excited about things like Hoverboard's GeoBlade. It's about where we're going as society. And I want the world to be a better place. I want the San Francisco Bay Area to be better for my children and their children's children's children who I'll never meet. But I think today I'm affecting their life. Okay, boys, you can go keep playing with your technology. Thank you, Army. I would like to invite my friend, Robert Bigler, to come up. Robert, come on up. Everybody give Robert a hand. So, to introduce you, I met Robert 3 or 4 years ago. A friend of mine brought me over to your office. We had never met. I had a branding company. I was fortunate to do branding, marketing projects for some really cool companies. And I walk into your office. You have this beautiful office in Mountain View. And you showed me this CAD drawing of this product. And I'm sitting there and I'm looking at the CAD drawing of this. And I thought to myself, this is why I started this company. This is the reason. It's this type of thing that I wanted to promote. This is what I wanted to bring to the world. So thank you for letting me be a part of your life, of your family, of your business. I have a ton of respect for you, the way that you and Punita have run multiple companies now, the way that you've stayed by each other's side through all of the victories and all of the hurdles, the way that I see your family involved in your life. I just think that you are a noble man, and I look up to you, and every time I get to do a project with you, it's like, yes, I get to work with Robert again. So congratulations on getting a few minutes to hear from one of my heroes, Robert Bigler.
Thank you.
I love what you do. I just think you're just one of the funnest people. And I love that you made this for yourself. So before we jump into the 4 questions, can you just talk about why you created the GeoBlade, which is, you'll find this soon at hoverboard.com. Robert, he's the hoverboard technology guy. And why did you create this? Because you always said, I made this for myself. It was a selfish thing. So talk about that.
Well, I just thank you, Ian, and thank you for doing what you've done for hoverboard. It's really, really put us on the map. My wife Benita and I really hate to say my wife because we started as co-founders of a previous company. We are co-founders of hoverboard now and really equal partners. She and I sold our last company, and were able to And it's right now I feel we're kind of on the wrong track. We're trying to solve fake problems, and we continue to solve fake problems like tax cuts needed for the wealthiest of Americans, or controlling women, or solving, blaming immigrants for the issues we have with our jobs. All of these things are fake created problems.
That's so good, Robert. I love what you're saying. Who are you looking up to right now that's mitigating these risks? Like, we've talked about Elon Musk, we've talked about Tim Cook and his team at Apple, we've talked about Zuckerberg and his team at Facebook, we've talked about, all the folks that are running Alphabet now, which was Google. Like, we've talked about some of the world leaders, we've talked about some of the things that they're doing together. Can you just bring up some of the folks that you're like, I love how this person is taking the risks seriously and actually attacking the problem?
Well, I think, one of the people I would like to meet is people like Elon Musk. And I like
Elon, if one of your people are watching, Elon.
Yes, please, lunch on me.
Robert Bigler. He's in Mountain View. He's my hero.
My neighbor.
And you're his hero.
One thing I love about Elon is that he's an immigrant, first of all. Yeah. Okay, so he's not stealing our jobs. He's creating them by the tens of thousands, all right? And he's doing what he loves, like I'm doing. He's challenging himself. He's not retiring. He's putting himself on the line, like I feel I am, to make a difference in ways that he believes really are important.
And Elon as a person and Elon as a businessman inside of an organization, can you talk about when you see Elon and his personality, being on TED Talks, talking about the pipes, solving all the traffic problems, talking about like his visions, and then his businesses that are apart from him? How is he attacking these problems and creating solutions? And what are you learning from him because you have your own company, you're your own person. What are you learning about taking care and actually creating solutions as a person, and then leading an organization? How do you create solutions for these problems in those two ways?
Well, my success in business has always taken more time and more effort than a lot of the people that I see. And I don't have the management, go-getter person in me. I just kind of want to invent things. So I have both admiration and disdain for the greatest of managers and whip crackers. So I think I admire Elon Musk, the business person, and what he's accomplished, and he's doing what he loves to do, but he's selected those things that he loves to do that make a positive difference in our lives and that create jobs.
Yeah, that's awesome. And what are the solutions that you're driving toward? Like right now, you're working on the GeoBlade. When we first came out with hoverboard on Kickstarter, the initial price point was $10,000 because it was just so expensive to make these. And then we came out with a lower price point in the $3,000 range, still really difficult for people to afford. And now this product, you want to talk about like what's going to be and how this is actually a part of the solution of actually getting people that thing between transportation and walking, like keeping people exercising, fighting the Wall-E potential, giving people a solution for the last mile. Like to me, you created a physical solution for problems that technology are going to create by automating our life. Can you just talk a bit about that?
Yes, the first product I made, I just made it the way I wanted it, and then all rich people like me could buy it and have a great time like I do. And my better half, my wife, is the socially responsible voice in our family. And she said, I don't even want to be a part of something that deals, with rich people's problems. Make something affordable. And go down from there, make it more and more affordable, and make a difference in the last mile solution. And we've got something we can both get behind. And so, this is still coming out at a high price point. It's about $1,500. It'll be live on the
same price like a boosted board or a one wheel
but it's right
or electric
there with
skateboard.
all the other real mobility products.
Yep.
It's not a toy.
Right.
And we will come in with more and more affordable products. But my objective is to make it fun to get to the train, make it fun to get from the train to your office, so that people don't use their cars when they don't have to. Don't buy that extra car. Yeah. That it connects you in a way that you look forward to that part of your day instead of lamenting it.
That's wonderful. Well, as we wrap up, you have offered something very kind to this crowd. You've offered to do a handful of packages for folks. So all of you have been given raffle tickets. And what we're going to do is we're going to pick some raffle tickets out. And the folks that win the hoverboard prize, you'll get a hat and a t-shirt, which is super cool. I love the logo, the team that created it. But what's really awesome is you have your office in Mountain View. And you're going to invite people to come down to your office. So a handful of people from here can all go down to Mountain View, have lunch with you all together, demo the hoverboard inside your headquarters, check out this amazing facility you've built, and kind of be a part of your world. So thank you so much for offering that to this community. Thank you for being here. Thank you for caring. Thank you for inspiring me. Like, our conversations have made a drastic impact in me taking the concern of what terrible things could happen more seriously and trying to drive towards stopping and mitigating that risk. And then it's been fun to dream with you, like what could be. Thank you so much, Robert.
Thank you, Wayne.
Okay. Thank you. So the next person that's coming up is Liza from Black Belt AI, and she can head up as soon as she is ready. You know what, Army, actually, why don't you leave those? I just think they're so beautiful. If you can turn that light on, that would be even better. Liza, thank you for being here. I'm so happy you're here. We met at Runway recently. I got to meet your partner at Black Belt AI, and I would love to get Robert Bigler and your partner together. Man, those two guys, they got my mind spinning. He goes, so, okay, how about 100 years from now? Because we're talking 10 years out. And I'm like, you go first. He's like, planetary travel. You know, he's casting this whole vision. So it must be thrilling to work in an environment where you actually are leveraging artificial intelligence, machine learning, to actually solve marketing problems for companies that matter. So I would love for you to introduce yourself, your background. You have a phenomenal background in advertising. Like, I looked at your background as we were getting to meet one another, and I thought to myself, I wish I would have worked for her. I would have loved to follow her. And she was like a leader in the world that I've been in for 20 years, doing branding and marketing. So can you just give a bit of your background, and then we'll kind of dive into marketing and artificial intelligence?
Yeah, definitely. So Liza Nebel, background, traditional advertising. Started at Ogilvy in New York, doing TV and radio, and this whole thing called digital started. And I was like, that's interesting. Also born and raised on the West Coast, so saw it as a ticket out west. Realized that digital was going to change the way that we communicated with people, specifically, and I was, you know, in my early 20s going, all right, marketing, I see how they're capitalizing on it, they're monetizing it, it's incredibly profitable, you can actually show metrics of success versus big flashy brand campaigns. All the while, I also became incredibly interested in architecture and revitalization of communities, so ended up jumping out for a little bit to get my master's in architecture, where again I realized data, which is what digital marketing really is also driving design and architecture. So I spent a fair bit of time using scripts that tell you how to design and iterate more quickly. And I was like, all right, so there's something to this data thing that is actually helping us do things better, do things faster, augment our creativity, help us be better cognitive thinkers. Went and sort of forayed all over the place, spent a bit of time doing large-scale renewable energy projects for the government, all the while keeping good connections in the marketing community, and the opportunity to start Black Belt came along. And Black Belt was about bringing people together that want to do incredibly different work. We don't want to be constrained by massive corporations. We'd all worked at some pretty big enterprise holding company institutions and came together and realized data-led activities, working with great clients, working with great partners was actually going to let us do transformative work that's meaningful and valuable to clients. We've been around for about 3 years, Black Belt AI, and along the way I've done a joint venture also to build an AI marketing platform, which will really be launching for more commercial use in early Q1 2018.
How long have you been toying around with advanced technologies in your career compared to just going from marketing to digital? But when did it actually shift for you when you're actually diving in, like, okay, this is not people doing marketing, we're actually leading machines to do marketing? Like, when was that big shift? When did that happen? Was it recent? Was it a bit ago?
The mental shift for me was actually in architecture school, when there's traditional architectural training, and you go back and you read architectural books from BC era, and you're learning on a drafting table, but after the first semester, you jump directly into the digital world. And that actually wasn't the same rigor or coursework from just a few years prior. So I realized it was an incredible shift. And I mean, I had already had this digital background using tools that were helping us, you know, assess and analyze and all those things, but it was in the days of pop-up ads. Like, it just wasn't, you know, at the level that we're speaking now. And I frankly wasn't really thinking that way. I was, you know, pursuing other passions at the time. So I think that's where I really recognized it. And it's been, frankly, something that's been a driving force of all the decisions I've made of who I've decided to partner with and continue this journey with.
Why did you partner with Black Belt? Why did you launch Black Belt with the team that you did? What attracted you to your team? So I just want to have a grid for your community that you're driving this before we dive into like some of the more significant questions around AI and marketing.
Absolutely. It's a good question. Black Belt started with 7 people, and we're 3 original founders now, and I've got one of them in the room. We all had Brian Tucker. He's creative
Brian,
production.
Glad you're here. Keep rocking.
And we all, it's interesting actually, I realized this is a really successful event you've put together because there's a common thread I've heard multiple of us talk about, and it's continual education, constant learning, challenging each other with different notions and ideas. And Black Belt came together as people with incredibly disparate but harmonized beliefs, disparate skill sets and harmonized beliefs, and that has helped us be incredibly successful. And that's what the name Black Belt is all about. Black Belt is about continuous learning, and the sort of the mythology of Black Belt is that you go and you get a white belt, and it's through rigor and training and time that your belt simply just gets dirty. So we're at a company of continual learning, and so much so, and I was liking what Michael, the education guy, was talking about, this continual learning. Actually, in 2018, all employees at Black Belt are going to be cross-trained in a different discipline that we're calling a minor, because we realize that you have to keep people engaged and pushing forward for them to actually be great at what their core discipline might be, but also be a contributing member to the greater organization.
Wow. So share some of your real, true concerns. Like, how could Black Belt and your peer organizations actually create a storm of hardship for humanity? If things go wrong, if the wrong people are in charge, if the motives are not right, like, what can actually happen when it comes to artificial intelligence, a machine being led by people with wrong motives, actually leveraging a machine to market in an unethical or just not even good boundaries around marketing to humanity? Like, give me a bad picture of what could happen.
Well, everybody, pack your bags. The machines are rising. They're here now. The singularity, of course, is always, you know, top of mind. People love to talk about it. I was raised in a Star Trek household. That's been a conversation. Like,
can you explain singularity? You and I understand it.
Yes.
But not everyone understands the moment of singularity. Can you just explain what that is and why it creates fear?
The moment of singularity is when technology or a computer or machine, whatever you want to call it, comes to the same level of human cognition and surpasses it. And at that point, we can't stop it. And it's a really interesting thing to talk about. It's incredibly frightening. The movie Ex Machina keeps me up at night still. It's incredible. I strongly believe this isn't a conversation about the singularity, and I don't believe that'll ever happen. And I'm going to tell you why, and then we'll move on to what AI actually means for marketing and the challenges we face. Yeah. I don't think the singularity is ever going to happen, because what AI is, it's algorithms and machine learning, and it's predictive. In essence, if it's actually getting that smart, it will predict its own cognition, and we will know before it happens. And it will also allow us to uncover the technology or other ideas for how to stop it. So it's actually, it has to be able to do that first before it can technically be smarter than us.
I can't help myself, I have to ask this question, I'm sorry. Moment of singularity. Moment of singularity, I just got to ask this, okay. Because what you're saying is the moment of singularity as a bad thing, ex machina. But what about the moment of singularity happening and the machines become partners to humans? They solve the human genome problem. They solve human aging. They completely transform our ability to thrive. And it's actually a wonderful thing for us if it happens.
I think
what about that?
So that's an incredible thing. And I actually think AI and machine learning, it's already doing that with tuberculosis.
That's good.
AI is already from not natural language processing, but from image recognition, more accurately can predict tuberculosis at the same rate as a physician can identify breast cancer, which is actually going to democratize those types of services, which has historically been really expensive and not accessible for everybody. So those opportunities with AI already exist. It's really about the open source nature of that technology. And I think that's a little bit about, you know, your next prompt is how do we address that and be part of the dialogue to make things better?
How do we, please?
I think it's about sharing those ideas, and it's about acknowledging, I believe AI really is at the peak in front of innovation right now, and all innovation can be used for good and bad. And I was sharing a little bit with the group, so back to my architecture background, there's a book called The 10 Books on Architecture by Vitruvius, and it was in 80 BC, he wrote it. The 10th book is on design innovation, and design innovation generally came about for the need for new machines, specifically war machines. So most design is basically built for war. That's where it starts from. I mean, we think about the internet, funded by the Pentagon, as well as Xerox, but that was for different purposes, like photocopying your hand and such. And like Alan Turing, he was funded by a war effort, and he was the original founder of AI in 1950. So we have to recognize there's this exhaust that can come off of innovation, but it's through continual innovation that things get better. Like the wheel was a horrible, and the wheel on a car caused a lot of accidents at first. We didn't stop driving cars. We kept going. We got better at rubber. We got better at tire design and all those good things. And it's one of the safest things in a car. We're continuing to reduce those things that are unsafe on a car, so much so where we're getting to is reduce the human. So that's really my idea on innovation and why we have to keep pushing it and recognize the negative things that can occur, acknowledge them, but be guardians and champions of what's possible.
For the last moment that we have, can you just talk about Black Belt AI, what you're bringing to the market? Like, I want you to pitch your company. I didn't tell you that I wanted you to do this, but I legitimately do. As I've studied, I'm like, people need to know about what you're doing. So as we wrap, just pitch Black Belt AI, invite people to come in. You actually have offered as a gift, one of the raffle tickets will be that you can have an hour with Black Belt AI for free consulting and happy hour afterwards. So pitch Black Belt AI for me.
Yeah, I realized I didn't talk about marketing whatsoever, but so what we're doing at Black Belt is we've developed an AI platform for marketers, and what that is going to allow people to come in, brands, product designers, to come in, recognize that there is data out there that's going to be able to allow you to understand your consumer better, understand your product better, iterate faster, get to market faster. It's all, you know, fail faster. You know, it sounds inconsequential when we're talking about starvation and human condition and using AI to change those great things. But there's something to be said for actually building better products that are more meaningful, that drive a better experience. So it's pretty exciting. We've got some interesting pilot opportunities with some pretty notable Bay Area companies. So keep an eye out for us. And we're always willing to have a conversation. We work with two types of companies, disruptors and disrupted. There's a lot of disruptors in here, and there are sure a lot of disrupted companies that are looking to partner as well.
Yeah, powerful. Thank you so much for being here. Yeah. We really appreciate you.
Thank
you for what you shared.
Very successful.
I'm going to invite Justin Dillon to head up. Justin is a hero to people older than him, younger than him. He is a true world changer. People throw around the term world changer, I do, as though it's like this thing that we all chase after, or we all want to change the world. But the reality is of nice shoes and socks. By the way, your black and white combo happening right now.
These are blue.
Is so, yeah. I'm colorblind then. Okay. Your black and white combo with the little shade of color right there.
It's got a little bit of Hamburglar thing.
It's almost hard to concentrate and exalt all the goodness that you've done. But I'm going to come back to it.
Stick with the socks. It's probably more interesting.
Justin Dillon's changed the world. It's no joke. He was a touring musician, super successful in creativity, art, and then you created Slavery Footprint. And Slavery Footprint became a place you go to slaveryfootprint.org, and you can actually find out how many slaves work for you by putting information in about your life. Then you shifted even further to launch Made in a Free World, and basically providing a business-to-business software as a solution service. You know, so many people want to start a business to make money or to make a difference. Like, what if you started a business that made money, completely changed the world and made a difference? If you want to model watch what Justin Dillon and his team at Made in a Free World are doing, because you took this idea of slavery footprint and you actually took it to the Fortune 500. Can you talk a bit about yourself and what you've done and what you're driving toward?
Yeah. I believe that there are two types of poverty in the world, and both are important. And since we're talking about technology, I think, to me, what gets me excited about the future is, can we create technology that can solve for both types of poverty? There's the poverty of means. So means to education, means to health, means to freedom. This is typically what we would think of when we think of poverty, right? Means to access to food and water. These are the people that we put into the poverty of means category, about half the planet. The rest of us are suffering from what's called a poverty of meaning. And we do it every day. We address our poverty of meaning by getting into our technology and seeing how we rate and how likable we are in the world. And it's big business. Typically, when you think about changing the world, people think that you need to do it through a lens of selflessness. That you need to say, well, this is the good part of me. Everything else I do to take care of myself, but now I'm going to take care of somebody else and I'll do the best I can. Or you have terms for it, like give back or charity or Giving Tuesday, one day out of the year, right? We're going to be good today, and we're going to be generous today. I actually don't believe that that's a sustainable model to not only deal with the world's poverty of means, but frankly to deal with our poverty of meaning. What we are all hungry for is to be able to participate in a bigger story than our own. And the challenges that are around us, like slavery and education, all the rest of it, these are stories that those of us that are suffering from a poverty of meaning get to participate in. So what really gets me jazzed, whether it's making a film or making a song or making enterprise software, is being able to build something that can sit in between those two and solve for both poverties at the same time. Building tools that other people can use to change the world.
You're using technology for good. Like, you have a really strong vision of how to leverage technology for good. What concerns do you have about the way the technology is being used for bad? You're in the human trafficking world. Like, talk to us, like, wake us up in terms of, like, how is technology not being good for humanity, and what are you concerned about how it's driving toward?
I don't know if, I mean, I'm kind of a card-carrying hopeaholic, so it's hard for me to think about where technology is going bad. I think there's a lot of missed opportunities with technology, and one of those is in a world that I did not think I would ever be in, which is in procurement. I'm actually not in the human trafficking world anymore. I'm in risk analysis. We help Fortune 500 companies identify child and forced labor in their supply chains, which everyone has it, every product has it, every lithium-ion battery has a massive challenge. We have these huge narratives behind the things that we buy and use every day. And we're not really leveraging the technology that we have. We actually, for the first time in history, slavery is illegal everywhere in the world. We have the technology to find it. And we've got regulations that are around the world that are starting to address it. So the mentality that it's something that we just can't solve for is just like lame, super lame. And so that to me is the opportunity to build a business to not only fix the poverty of means, but also fix the poverty of meaning. And when it comes to corporate poverty of meaning, this is where brands get into, trying to position themselves as doing good, and it often falls into virtue signaling. So actually, what brands need now today to be able, and I believe that brand differentiation in the future is less about what you do on Giving Tuesday and more about what you do with your spend the rest of the year.
That's good. How is Made in a Free World currently mitigating this risk for the Fortune 500? And what is your vision specifically for solving these problems as you move forward into the future? Because you're building a team, you're building better technology. Like, what are you doing now to solve the problem? And what specifically are you going to be doing to actually help the biggest companies in the world solve the problem of their procurement, their supply chain, being at least having understanding of the slaves that are involved in their business and how to actually help solve that?
Change is not a zero-sum game. Saving the world is. That's when we think of charity, we think, I'm going to give it away, it goes away, I've given money, I've given time, I don't get it back. That is the past. The future is how do we use what we already have, just like this entire street is all about sharing economy and economizing the things that we already use them better.
Yeah.
How can we use our supply chains better? How can we use our presence in the marketplace better to actually really solve problems? That's what changing the world is. Saving the world is awesome. We can do that through charity, but we can change the world through the things we're already doing. And so for us, it's about changing a mindset, about fixing some of the world's biggest problems is one of the best things that you can do for your personal or corporate brand. Wow. So it really does require technology to be that efficiency generator in that space. Yeah. Because you go to incumbent thinking inside of departments, inside of companies, it's like, well, this is how we always do it. We pass around Excel files. Well, what if we put all of your suppliers on a network and we can tell you which ones you need to focus on, and then we kind of save you all the time? Well, that's awesome. Okay, let's do that.
So tell us a case study. Tell us a story that actually matters. Like, how are you actually making a difference right now, and what do you perceive making a difference as you go forward?
I think you're asking the same question you asked me earlier, again, which I didn't answer. What we're doing right now is we take a company's spend data, like what they spend to make or run their company. Right. We analyze it, and we tell them where the problems might be in their supply chain. We then sending activists out or sending a startup out isn't very effective. But when you have someone who's spending $10 billion in the marketplace, the greatest way to change someone's behavior is when the dollar is over the barrel. And I don't need to change someone's morality. I just need to change their behavior about the way they treat others. So you use those commercial opportunities with some of the biggest companies in the world that we're working with, and we're empowering those purchase moments for them to say, you know what? I'd actually like for you to run your company a little bit differently, because I think you might be creating a scenario in which people can get hurt and exploited. I don't have a voice in that conversation, but I can give a tool to someone who does have that voice. We want to do that everywhere. We want to be in every transaction. Here's the thing. Here's the big vision for us. We want it to be easy to be able to express our values without having to pull a QR reader out or some kind of code from the ILO. We want it to be digitized to where we become part of the fourth industrial revolution of data, where our values are following our purchases wherever they go.
You know, I imagine you walk out of a shopping market and Salvation Army guys there with the bell. And the basic call to action is like, put a little change in Salvation Army's bucket, charity, and you're going to help this person get a leg up in life. If Made in a Free World had a person outside of every shopping market, and there's one call to action, not hire us, not give us money, but do one thing socially to get the word out about what we are doing to actually impact the world right now. And this obviously applies to this room. What is the one call to action that this room can take to bring awareness to Made in a Free World? What's one call to action that people that are watching the live stream right now? Because the live stream audience is significant. We have a bunch of people that are, where we're streaming through dozens of different channels, all through Facebook and YouTube. Yeah. Like, this is your chance. I really want you to tell people, if there's one call to action, it takes them 15 seconds, 1 minute. What do they do and why do they do it? Why does it make a difference?
Okay, this is a lot of pressure, Ian. Okay, oh God.
Feel it, baby. Feel it.
Can I take a few laps? The truth will set you free.
Okay.
Just ask questions of the companies that you're doing business with. In fact, you can do it right now. You can tweet your favorite company online and just say, are you protecting the freedom of everyone in your supply chain? Wow. It's not a threat, because this is ubiquitous. There's no bad guys except the bad guys. There's no bad brands. It's just, are you looking or not? That's the change that we're seeing. And when we start to open up the doors in everything in life, transparency truly does set people free, existentially and literally. And so as we start to do this, this isn't something to be scared of. And if you're scared of it, well, then you probably do have a problem.
That's good. I think to myself about where technology is going, how you're affecting it. And I wonder, what happens next? Like, who are you partnering with? And let me frame it this way for our last moment. When you had Slavery Footprint, every broadcasting network got behind you. You were on every single news station. You were on every stage. You did TED Talks. The Clinton Global Initiative got behind you before they were kind of dogged in the last election. The Obamas got behind you. Public policy changed because of you. Like, legitimately, the most powerful people in America got behind you because of Slavery Footprint. if the most powerful people in America got behind you for made in a free world, like what do you need partners for? Like asking a company is one thing, but what if CBS, Fox, NBC, MSNBC, what if Trump's campaign, what if, I mean, I don't care, what if Bernie Sanders is like, how can I help? Like, what can powerful people do to partner with you and make a difference like they did with Slavery Footprint?
Don't be exploitative.
Just individual.
Change is boring. It takes time. But we live in a 5-second moment world where everyone wants everything right now. I can't tell you how many people come up to me and go, well, how many slaves did you free this week? It's like, none. I sell enterprise software. And I can never tell you that. But I can tell you that there's going to be a lot less people in slavery because this software exists out there. If you're saying you need something right now that's more about you than them. And so change takes time. And now, when I started this 10 years ago, no one knew about it. Now popes and presidents are out there talking about it. Wow. Next week, the president of France is going down to Libya to talk about the human trafficking problem where they're selling people for $400 to be shipped to this. It's over. It's a whole new world, but you have to stick with it or else we'll lose the moment that I believe history has given us. So be willing to stick with it and don't misinterpret perfection for progress.
That's good. Thank you for what you do, Justin.
Yeah, thanks.
I sure appreciate it.
Awesome.
What time is it? What time? Okay, I'm gonna have Zane come up. So we're gonna wrap up in the next 10 minutes. Zane and I are gonna kind of power through this last talk. Zane, first of all, can we thank Zane and Founders Advisors because they sponsored this whole event. They're the ones that put this whole thing on.
Thank you, brother.
Zane has become a wonderful friend to me. Our mutual friend Luke Miner introduced us. Can you just tell the story of you carrying, started up in Redding, 3 hours north in Shasta County. Tell the story of you carrying, your involvement with them, the folks that you connected them with. Like, what do you do? Because if you're going to talk about the future of funding, what's the baseline for why you actually have a voice?
Thank y'all so much. And I will say y'all, and I talk kind of like this because I'm from the South, but what we do, we're an investment bank, and we help get growing technology companies capital. That's what we do. And we're passionate about that because I was an entrepreneur. I worked for IBM for 12 years. They ended up funding my company. I feel like I'm really old now. I think Michael Clifford and I are the oldest guys here. But I was funded by IBM, and I found out back then that capital makes a difference. And a lot of entrepreneurs do not know how to access the capital continuum, and that's very frustrating to me. So we're an investment bank that's basically a tour guide for tech growth companies. That's what we do. And Luke Miner here, I was blessed to meet Luke and his partner Brock Ketcher. I guess it's about 3 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago. They had built an amazing company. I was doing a little pitch on the internet one time, did a little segment on the difference in a financial investor and a strategic buyer. Somehow Brock and Luke saw that video, gave me a call, and said, I really don't know about this company. Started looking at it. At that time, they were small, but they were growing amazingly fast. They were a cause-based fundraiser, online funding source. And we were very blessed, started working with them, underwrote their business. So we're securities licensed, so we underwrote their business, took it to a lot of strategic and financial potential partners, found a company here in San Francisco, Alpine Investors, which is right down there in Embarcadero. I don't know if it's that way or that way. Funded their company, and hopefully it's turned out good for Luke and Brock. It's been awesome, and they introduced me to you.
That's right. You were introduced to me for my software company. I got to be a very small part of something very grand. Kukui Corporation. I was very fortunate to be able to come into a man's life named Ryan Wilmot, this genius. I said, okay, you're the brain, I'm the mouth. Let's make magic happen, right? So we come together, and it was 2010. We started building this company, and of course it's spun, and it's been so exciting. We hit the Inc. list, number 76 in the nation recently, fastest growing company in San Jose. So Luke introduces the two of us. And so as you look toward funding today and in the future, like one thing that you're working on right now is just getting to know Kukui and the opportunity there. So talk a bit about that, right? Because that's what brought us together. And that's an active thing that you're working on right now.
Yeah, Kukui, again, they have the ingredients that are fundable. Y'all, one thing that frustrates me as an entrepreneur and as a banker is companies that just aren't ready. I see over and over entrepreneurs, and I had several discussions today with entrepreneurs here. They go out, they have their opportunity to raise capital, and they're not prepared. And therefore, they get discouraged because they get no after no after no. And anybody in here that's tried to raise money as a CEO, it can become a full-time job. Yeah. Okay, so when I met Ian and his team at Kukui, they're growing very, very rapidly. They have over 1,500 customers that have, and they have this huge, most important thing called a high retention rate.
Huge.
If your customers keep buying your product, guess what? To an investor like me, that's very, very exciting. So retention is unbelievable. They're growing fast. So we looked at them. We're underwriting them right now. So if it's okay if I say this, I guess, so that we can go out and find the right strategic or financial partner. Y'all, there's more to capital than just money. You want value-added money. You want people that can put you in front of other people in partnerships. So it's going out and finding the right capital. So that's what we're doing right now. We'll be running an auction, going to the top potential partners, and hopefully find an unbelievable partner to help you to continue to grow the business. Also, the other key thing, a lot of entrepreneurs think, oh, when I raise capital or sell my company, I might not be involved anymore. Because if I raise capital from a very sophisticated investor, guess what they might want to do? Replace the CEO, right? Get a better CEO, top grade the CEO, because talent's critical. What we found out, I've done about 104 institutional deals where we sold the company or we raised capital. And y'all listen, they want the CEOs. They want the team. People invest in the team. We just sold a company we can't announce yet to a very, very wonderful company out here. It's a large publicly traded household name. Y'all, it was an acqui-hire. This huge company bought this team of gentlemen from the East Coast, from a very good university that had built something in artificial intelligence because they had compiled a culture and a team that this publicly traded company could not recreate, so they bought them. So what we saw in Kukui, what we saw in U-Caring, unbelievable talent, great product, great retention. They have a reason to exist. They're growing. The sexiest thing you can do as a company for investors is grow very fast.
That's right.
And then you've got to mitigate something. You've got to mitigate your risk. The way you do that is by having a great product, a great team, a competitive advantage. So that's what we saw in Kukui. Very excited about what you're doing.
Well, Luke, Miner, myself, 100 other founding teams have trusted you. You're playing the long game. You have a massive, amazing team of very talented people. I am incredibly grateful that you've come into my life and into our business. We're going to do an event at the same space here, February 5th, 6th, and 7th. So on February 5th, 6th, and 7th, we're bringing your annual event, Silicon Y'all, which was one of my favorite things I've ever done. I was like, it was like I was just floating. I woke up at 6 a.m. and I went to bed at 2 a.m. I didn't need sleep.
You were partying.
I was the last one. I was the last one to bed every night. There's no doubt about it. And I just thought to myself, like, this has got to come to the West Coast. Like what you do, the community that you've cultivated, the private equity firms, the M&A people, the venture capitalists that you bring together with all the founders and their teams to make magic happen and bring people together. Like, we need this here. And so you and I start talking about this event. You're like, hey, I love the idea of the future of tech. I'll get behind it. I'll sponsor it. I'll make sure we'll take care of things. And it's why we have prizes, right? It's why we have food and drinks. And so we have all these different things that we're being able to give away because you paid for all that. Thank you so much for that. And we talk about this event, and then we talk about like, hey, where are we going? Why don't we bring Silicon Y'all here? Why don't we make a space for software as a service companies, for internet companies to come to where they can rub shoulders with the M&A people, the private equity firms, the venture capitalists. Now, the fact is, a lot of people in this room would love to be there. A lot of people in this room know people that need to be there. You have a massive list that we have to turn away. There's a very limited number of people that can make it. But that's one reason why we did this, was like practice for your big show. And of course, this is my thing I'm super passionate about, is optimism and bringing hope to people. Talk a bit about this event. I mean, really, this is your moment. Like, not everybody in this room is right. Not everybody on the live stream is right. But for the people that are the SaaS company that should be there, the internet company that should be there, they are growing. Their revenue is good. Their team is good. They're rocking. They're ready for a financial partner. They're ready for a strategic partner. Why should they be in this room? What are you going to provide for them? And why are you a safe person? And why have you built a safe company that they can trust?
Man, it's a good question. First of all, I want to say there are a lot of good bankers out there, okay? We're just tour guides. I would say as CEOs, I was a CEO, I sold 2 of my companies to publicly traded companies. And when I started doing this, I didn't understand what the capital continuum looked like. And so our passion as a bank now, I was on the board of this bank and ended up, after selling my last company, saying, man, this is what I want to do. I want to be a tour guide. We want to bring a different kind of culture in banking. Let's say that's more accessible. It is about financial engineering. It's about return on investment. But let me tell you, it's also, and I've heard this as a theme with everybody here, it's about community, it's about talent, it's about trust. And so our hope, being a Southern bank, we're in Birmingham, Alabama, and Dallas, Texas. Why in the world are we out here? Y'all, this is what's crazy. We do about half of our deals out on the West Coast. We're saying, why is that? And we figured out, being naturally bright like we are, I see I don't dress as cool as y'all, but sorry. Hey, this is coming back, though. This style's coming back. I promise, man. It is coming back, baby. One day you're going to get here. You're going to see. We believe you can add a human touch to banking.
That's so good.
Because at the end of the day, guess who does deals? People.
Yeah.
People do deals. I sit in front of family offices almost every day, very wealthy families that now have CFOs, and they're putting their money back in entrepreneurs. Yeah. And guess what they do? They invest in people. Yeah. Now, you have to be prepared. Your business has to have a reason to exist. It has to have a good unit economic model. But at the end of the day, we want to bring the people, the culture, the feel back into banking. And we think the West Coast needs that a little bit. So that's the reason we're here. And we're grateful.
Zane, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you for making this space. Thank you for providing the opportunity for me to actually make this dream come true. Thank you for serving these people. Thank you for the gifts that you're about to give away. For the 10 speakers that have been here, we did get all of the 10 speakers a gift. And so we'd like to get those gifts to you right now. Google has new mini HomePods. You say, okay, Google, kind of like, hey, Alexa. And so we bought OK Google HomePod minis along with an electric outlet so you can kind of control your lights. So that's for the 10 speakers. So you are blessing us. You're bringing another conference. You're giving gifts to the speakers, and we're going to give gifts to the attendees. So pull out your raffle tickets, and let's kind of get ready for that moment. We're going to soon cut the live stream, cut to one of Luisa's songs for those that are watching, and we're going to transition back to the live stream Igloo. So thank you for being here. I'm going to stand up and kind of wrap it up.
Thank you, brother.
I appreciate you.
Thanks.
So C. Simone can come up. We'll do the raffle. I'm going to have you kind of pick out the raffle tickets, just bring them to me so I can just read them. So first of all, I just want to thank some people while we still have the live stream going. I want to thank C. Simone from Film Hero.
Right here. To the front.
I simply had an idea just to have an event with Robert Bigler from Hoverboard and a couple other guys. And she's like, well, what about girls? I'm like, I want women. Yeah, who do you know? Like, let's get some women here. And she's like, well, what if we try this? I'm like, I like that idea. And then I started hearing, can we try this? Can we try that? And she's like, uh-oh, Ian's an idea guy. This is becoming more complicated and bigger than I thought. And so thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. It has been a joy to work with you. I am so impressed by your ability as a leader, the way you bring the organizers together, the way you bring the volunteers together. It's incredible. Thank you, Runway. Thank you, Joe and Katie and Tyler and Courtney. I have so much honor for what you've created for startups here. I'm so excited to actually be a part of it. Like the fact I get to stand here on a stage in Runway at the Twitter headquarters, to me, is like just, I don't have words for it. I'm just so grateful. And you've been such wonderful people to work with. Like the emails, the phone calls, the interactions, like it brings me life to work with you. And I hope that you start charging 10 times more money for events, and this becomes a massive place for transformation because you bring something so valuable. Again, thank you, Ghost Hand Productions. Sean Buckley with the most amazing red beard of all time. I like to call Sean out. I like to say about Sean Buckley, he is probably the most brilliant man I've ever met. He's red right now, but you can't tell because his beard is red. Sean Buckley is the one that gives me all these crazy ideas what we could do with live streaming. The reason why we're streaming live through a dozen YouTube pages and 2 or 3 dozen Facebook pages, the reason why we have all these crazy things happening on Instagram and Twitter and LinkedIn, so much of it has to do with Sean's vision and his ability to articulate and then execute that vision so that we can actually make a difference, and that this room is simply a stage for something so much bigger. You know, I really want to create a documentary out of this content. This moment that you saw is a small fraction of what's happened today. There's been dozens of really significant interviews in that igloo right there that's been live streamed. And I really want to share this information with the world. I don't care if it's a YouTube documentary, if we make it on Amazon or on Netflix. I mean, for me, I'd rather have the first documentary on the IMAX screen. I like to think big. But I'm just saying, if somebody's watching right now, if somebody's in this room and you think this content is worth actually cultivating, packaging up, and sharing with the world, if you think this might bring hope to people, then I would love to hear from you. IanUtile@gmail, IanUtile@gmail.com. I would love for you to connect with me, connect somebody with me that can do this. I'm very serious about sharing this hope with people. This should go beyond this. You might not remember what anybody said, but you should remember how you feel. We don't have to be afraid. We don't have to be dystopic. I don't have to be worried about my kids or their grandkids or their great-grandkids, because I can actually make a difference. You see, what thing is so powerful is our voice. It's why I'm so excited about Amazon Alexa. It's why I'm excited about Siri. It's why I'm excited about Microsoft Cortana and all the different voice devices right now. Why? Because human beings are coming back to speaking with their voice and making things happen. It's the ultimate thing, right? For us to say, hey Siri, do this. Hey Alexa, solve this math problem. Hey Cortana, order me this. Hey Google. And the fact that we are going to use our voice, this is where the future is going, everyone. Pretty soon, all glasses will be augmented reality. Pretty soon we'll have contact lenses in, and we'll be able to see in virtual reality at a moment. We will see augmented reality in a moment. It'll change the way doctors work on patients. It'll change the way mechanics work on cars. Technology is not something we should be afraid of. We should not be afraid of machine learning or artificial intelligence or blockchain or cryptocurrency or IoT. These things we should be leaning into, and it's good people like you in this room that should be leaning in and making a difference. Your voice matters. Alexa knows it. But do you know that your voice matters? Do you know that your actions matter? Do you know that the things that you do from this moment on affect things? People often say, oh, if I only could go back 10 years ago, I would have changed this or that. Well, make those changes today. Don't live in regret. Make a change with how you actually affect the world. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter what your role is in life. It matters that you say, I can make a difference. I'm going to bring optimism. I'm going to cast vision. I'm going to mitigate risk. I'm going to drive towards solutions. That's the reason why I put this event on. It's to say that to you. And I say it from a family that's lived here for 10 generations. For 10 generations, my family has lived in San Francisco and has made a difference. And I'm telling you, we're going to do it for 10 more generations. I want to do it with you. This is what we want to do. We want to make the world better through our actions. And that's what this is about. It's why you're physically here. It's why you're digitally watching. It's why I hope that one day this is a documentary that actually makes a difference and changes the way that somebody thinks, and then causes them to do a different action that actually makes the world a better place. Instead of being afraid of what could happen and hiding, they drive toward what could happen and they actually make it a reality. Thank you so much for being here. I'm assuming we're going to switch to the actual live stream. We're going to go ahead and do the raffle. And so if you want to come on up, we're going to give some things away. I'm going to introduce you. Come. Okay. So you do this, and I'll have a mic next to you.
All right. So the first prize goes to 03003619.
In order to save time, we'll announce the numbers, we'll put them on the whiteboard, and then we'll give the prizes out.
3003620.
If it's you, stand up and do a cartwheel.
All right.
Okay, last four digits might be easier.
3665.
Last four digits, 3665.
Oh, shoot. All right, 3622.
3622. All right, we have a winner. Come on down. C-Simone's giving you your prize.
3613.
3613.
3651.
3651. Everybody looking at their tickets? 3651.
3641.
3641. As we're doing this, we're giving away the hoverboard 6 packages. Right here, come. There's one. We have a winner. Say another number.
Did I say 3615?
3615.
3625.
3625. All right. So we're giving away prizes like a month free space at Runway. Thank you so much for that. We're giving away prizes like having greater, the legal thing doing your trademark. We're giving away steeped coffee mugs and steeped coffee. We're giving away hoverboard packages to be able to go and visit their headquarters. All these different prizes we're giving away. Let's keep doing numbers.
Okay, 3663.
3663.
Is someone writing this down?
We're going to write down the whiteboard.
Okay. 3612.
3612. All right. Cameraman in the back. Thank you, cameraman. We appreciate you. You deserve a prize.
3597.
3597.
3623.
3623. All right, we got a winner right here. Congratulations.
3618.
3618. All right. Good, good, good. Right over here, C-Simone.
3675.
3675. Oh, yeah. All the way from Shasta County. Thank you for coming.
3656.
3656.
3631.
3631. All right.
3649.
3649. All right, yeah. Jim won a prize. Let's keep going.
Are you keeping track of how many gifts we have?
Nope.
Nope. Okay, 3635.
3635.
3646.
3646. C-Simone, if you want to tell us like how many more we should do. All right, good. That's it. And by the way, what's happening right now? Hoverboard demos are happening. You can ride the hoverboard right now. There's probably still drinks and snacks to have. We're having interviews inside the igloo. Some of the most important people in my life are in this room. Well, actually, all the most important people in my life. My wife, my 2 boys are here. Plus, a bunch of other people that I love. Meet them. Say hello to somebody. Wonderful people are here. Enjoy the night, and thank you so much for coming.
I got that James Dean daydream look in my eye. You got that red lip plastic thing that I like when we go crashing down. We come back every time, never go out of style.
Tell you I'm insane, but I got a blank space, baby.
I got that James Dean daydream look in my eye. You got that red lip classic thing that I like when we go crashing down. We come back every time, never go out of style, out of style.
fade into view.
It's been a while since I've even heard from you.
I should just say to leave, 'cause I know exactly where it leads, but I watch us go round and round and round each time.
I got that James
So it's gonna be forever,
dream.
or it's gonna go down in flames. You can tell me when it's over, if the high was worth the pain. Got a long list of ex-lovers, they'll tell you I'm insane, 'cause you know I love the players, and you love the game. 'Cause we're young and reckless, we'll take this way too far.
Got that good real faith and a tight little scoop. We go crashing down, you come back every time.
I'm insane, but I got
style,
space, babe.
out of style.
And I'll write your name. Oh, midnight. You come and pick me up, no headlights. Long drive, get in burning flames of paradise.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a crazy night here at the Future of Technology. We're very fortunate to be here with Mark and Lucas of Congo, short for Content on the Go. It's a branded app platform. I'm gonna let these guys talk about it a little bit more. What's the elevator pitch? What does Congo do?
Yeah, Congo.io. We brand user-generated content. So it's we make it very easy for you to take your content, and we basically add bookends or book covers to digital content en masse.
What about a watermark?
Yes.
You do that
Yeah,
too.
branding comes in many different forms and sizes. It's it could be pre-roll, post-roll, watermark, metadata embedded, and then we syndicate video at once across networks. So Facebook, Twitter,
What does that
Vimeo.
mean? What does syndicate mean?
Distribute. So we send, so you shoot your content, run it through Congo's platform, and we brand it and then send it to the world. Save you hours of work.
So do you send it to the different social platforms?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So somebody shoots a video, just a random person with a phone, right? It watermarks it, puts the brand bookend back and forth, a little trailer or whatever, and then it sends it out natively for all their channels?
Yep. All at once.
Why does it not exist already?
I know. That was why we built it. We're like, why doesn't this exist? Because Mark and I are storytellers, love video, the medium of video, and if you've ever done that process, it takes 2 hours of work.
Yeah.
And actually, my son, who was 10 at the time, has a YouTube channel, Fun Times with Liam, and he's little plug. He started learning Adobe Premiere at 10 years old.
Wow.
And so finally, we're like, look, we've talked about building this for ages. Let's go ahead and build it. So we did. I'm going to hand it over to Mark.
Awesome.
No, it's been great here at the event. We've actually been using the product all night. We're on the back end of the event
You're
here.
smoking what you're selling.
We're smoking what we're selling. So we believe in pure customer development. So we're here. The cool thing is we have these campaigns set up. And so we've been posting against our own accounts and against the Future of Tech accounts, or I guess the Transform Your World account. And so it's really simple. So we publish Lord knows how many videos across all these. I mean, probably a couple of hundred tonight if you add up all of the various videos and all the networks. Tonight, we didn't sweat. It was just, I think, a handful of us on the account. So we've made it really simple to grab content, share content, get stories out in the world faster. Forget the headache. We just make it simple.
It's kind of like a blend of professionally created content and like raw, like live. Personally, I love that because you get that live feeling, but you get that extra polish of like, who is this? What's it for? Right? It's tied back to an organization.
So we believe stories happen in context of a brand or something else, and so by having those high-quality branded elements around the content and on the content, it makes doing those really quick, fast stories really easy. Just capture, share. Everything's branded. You're given the context kind of before and after.
Awesome.
Yeah, I was going to add, in today's world, you got 3 seconds to capture someone's attention. 3 seconds. So in that first 3 seconds, at the length of a swipe, give them your brand, right? The first thing they should see should be your animated logo or a quick
Well, and now
reveal.
anybody can have a brand.
Absolutely.
You can go to Fiverr, you can generate your own brand.
Yeah.
It's just total, everybody has a phone. It's just complete empowerment. So that's like so much of this event. We're talking about the future of technology. Are you a victim to what other people are creating and you just have to live in this world? Or are you actually part of the solution, part of the visionary process, part of building something? And somebody with a voice can go to Fiverr, go to Congo, grab their phone, create a brand, generate an audience.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. Yeah, and look, there's so much content in the world today. Take the opportunity and brand what you create. Right? Because then you're an influencer.
Yeah.
When you're an influencer, there's a lot of ways you can make money from this content.
Yeah.
But that's why we exist. It's been great to be a part of the event, and you can follow the social pipes and go check out some of the videos we've been making tonight.
Awesome. So if you look up hashtag FOT, you'll see your guys' stuff. There's a great example of what they're doing. You can see what you could be doing. We have about 30 seconds left. So speak more into what is your optimal outcome for what you guys are doing as technologists to make the world a better place?
Well, we help people tell stories faster, right? So the better world is people living out who they're you know, who you're made to be. Go explore the world, be an adventurer, live life, and tell your stories. But every great story has a beginning, middle, and end. So you focus on the middle, let Congo focus on the beginning and the end. Right? I mean, that's just it. So
that was a beautiful pitch. Thank you guys for coming out tonight. It's always a pleasure.
Cheers.
Gotta get a hand snap.
Hand snap.
You need to get on Congo more.
We're the hardware to your software.
That's it.
All right, we've got my friend Robert Bigler with Hoverboard here. We've got, we talked to you a little bit earlier. You spoke at the event tonight. You're launching a brand new product. You're focusing on mobility, solving the last mile problem. And I know that you do this, you do your company, you build technology out of more of a passion and a sense of purpose than just trying to make money, because you're already a very successful entrepreneur in Silicon Valley. So why don't you talk a little bit about that? Like what's your driving purpose? What are you looking to do?
Yeah, so I sold my last company, and instead of retiring, I wanted to jump back in the game. And so that's what, and I always had this idea of a one-wheeled electric skateboard in my mind. So I started Hoverboard Technologies to build that into a product and a company. And it was a passion I have for electric motors and personal mobility, electric vehicles, and
hold the mic up a little bit. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, that's awesome. So mobility in general, I mean, it feels like it's been a growing problem, obviously, because as everybody's migrating to urban centers and big cities, you have that last mile problem, and you have a lot of different people coming out with that transportation solution, and you're doing something very innovative that nobody else is really doing the way that you're doing it.
Yeah. So the problem is there as we have too many cars on the road. You can't even get to work in a car anymore, hardly. Yeah. You have to engage with public transportation, but you've got your problem. How do I get to the train station or the bus station? How do I get from there, from the other end to work? And I wanted to solve that in a way that's fun.
Yeah.
So instead of that being the part of the day that you're least favor, it's the part of the day you look forward to the most, and you can literally surf to work. Yeah. And it's real mobility, it's real transportation, yeah. It's miles of transportation on a single charge. So it's not a toy that you'd spin around in your driveway with. It'll get you places, and in a way that is both practical as well as really a sport.
Yeah, that's awesome. So let's jump into specs a little bit. How far does it go? How fast does it go?
Well, I made it so that it could take 2 removable batteries. It comes with one. One will give you at least 7 miles of range.
Nice.
You get a second one, and you can go up to 14 miles of range, and it'll go up to 16 miles per hour. But you really ought to be geared up if you're going to do that kind of stuff, and young and strong.
Geared up meaning like safety gear.
Yeah, like skate, knee pads and elbow pads and that kind of stuff. But I ride the hoverboard. I have all the fun in the world riding a little slower than I can run. It's still pretty fast because I can run pretty fast.
That's great.
And if something happens,
if you're running everywhere you were going. I mean.
Yeah. So if something, if I hit a bump or something like that, or I'm not looking at the ground or whatever, and something happens, I'm likely to be able to run it out.
Awesome. So you're a futurist, you're a dreamer, you're a builder. Where do you see the future of mobility going 50 years from now, or what's the next big leap?
Well, maybe it's a real hoverboard that we can get. I think the Back to the Future and predicted that we'd have that already.
Yeah.
But it'll be quite a while before we have real hoverboards. I think that are a practical thing that we can.
Close.
I don't know. I think I'd like to say that the future holds a replacement of virtually every fossil fuel-powered car in favor of an electric car, or better yet, electric personal mobility, connecting us with electric group transportation.
Yeah, awesome. So we got about 20 seconds left. You kind of spoke into that a little bit, but what is your optimistic view of the future of transportation? Moving off of fossils onto...
renewables. Clean, renewable transportation that's fun and gets us connects us with other people and with the outdoors.
Do you see that being possible?
Absolutely. I mean, it's essential.
Thank you for joining us, Robert. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you, Justice.
All right, we got Garrett from Red Plaid Shirt here.
That's my company. Yep. I make red plaid shirts.
Oh, I mean, you look fantastic.
Thank you.
What is your company? Give us your elevator pitch.
Elevator pitch, Limelight Health. We are a SaaS platform that helps small employers shop for insurance benefits.
Small
medical
employers.
Yep.
Okay, so break this down a little bit.
B2B, this is B2B, right? So
I know we're in Silicon Valley.
That's right.
There's a lot of acronyms going on right now. So it's a business to business software as a solution for small companies to jump into healthcare for their employees.
So we make it easy for their insurance brokers or agents that go meet with them once a year, and they come in with bound paper proposals and spreadsheets and waste their life working on manual processes that are horrible. We simplify that and streamline it so they can actually look them in the eyes and help them make a good decision. And you have to have data, and you have to have a platform that can analyze that data and show all their employees and help them make a good decision. So we don't sell to employers, we sell to insurance companies and brokers and those that are distributing benefits to employers.
Awesome. So if I'm hearing it, because we talked earlier to Lisa, I believe, was talking about legal and IP and how the future of legal procedures is to make things more tech-based so that you can kind of mitigate the bad practitioners and move back into relationship with the client. Is that kind of your vision?
Yeah. So yes, I think it's some of the lofty stuff that we talk about at our company is giving back the life to these people that got in the business to help people. And they're not able to help people because they're mired in spreadsheets and all this manual work that technology can solve for. So they can actually focus and help. And that's really what we're doing.
Awesome. So relational, using technology for relationships to help people.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a big push to try to figure out our employer's gonna go online like at Amazon and shop for benefits, right?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of complexities, there's a lot of compliance, there's a lot of stuff going on there where that's not a real reality right now. So it's technology plus an expert that knows what they're doing. And together, that's really where our platform is serving those. There's others that aren't leveraging the technology and they're getting, you've heard of Zenefits or Gusto or these big giant tech digital brokers. They're leveraging technology to make a better experience. And that's what the market deserves. And we're a small piece in that.
Awesome.
In that world.
Awesome. So we're here at the Future of Tech event at the Twitter building. We're dreaming about the future that we want to see. What is your optimal outcome of what you're doing, your industry and your spot?
So I would say, the reason why we're focused on small employers is because they're an underserved market. So it's not a profitable market without technology. So they don't have access to good technology to make good decisions. So the lofty vision, this outcome with what we're after is serving small employers so they have access to have a killer experience shopping for benefits with an employer, and then all the employees have a killer online experience enrolling in benefits. So the shopping side of it is where we're freeing data. So you have access to data. Where's your doctor? What medications do you have to take? Where do you live? What plans are available to you? What about these employees? I mean, there's a whole bunch that goes into it. And having access to the data is really what is missing in the decision-making process. You go online to buy insurance, or you go to Best Buy, you look at 10 TVs, you have all the data you need to make that decision. It isn't that way right now in the employee benefits shopping experience.
Interesting. So this is a massive opportunity here, what you're working on. Healthcare is such a quagmire. It's been so politicized. who are you hoping to disrupt, or what are you looking to disrupt?
We're disrupting well, I would say the status quo, 58, 59, 60-year-old broker that has based their whole business on relationship without technology. And so they're being disrupted, and they have an opportunity to respond and leverage technology to provide better service, right? So, that's a big, there's other competitors we compete with that are 10, 15-year-old legacy technologies that do quoting, because that's what we do quoting, where you get all the Blue Cross, United Healthcare, HealthNet. So those are others that we're disrupting because we're making it more of a real-time experience where they're just creating PDF or spreadsheets. So there's different, different people in our ecosystem that we're disrupting, but ultimately we just want to create a better experience for employers and employees, and so you've got
Awesome. So is it fair to say it's like the orbits of health industry?
You could say that, yeah.
Perfect.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's you've got insurance carriers that we sell to, right? And we say, hey, so your strategy of making it really difficult for your brokers to go renew and sell your products so that they won't move, because like when you renew every year, right, if they can make it difficult, you won't move their business, right? But at the end of the day, you got to shop. So you have to look at all your options, and you might as well embrace technology and let them shop, because they have to shop anyways. Don't make it more difficult for your broker to get information and look at the competitors and find the best plan. They're going to do it anyways. So if you leverage technology to shop all the options, right, that's the winning play, is to provide a better experience where you have to shop.
Perfect. Thanks for joining us, Garrett.
Thanks.
Wish you the best of luck. Healthcare reform needs all the help that it can get. Let's leverage technology to make people happier, healthier. Cut out the fluff, the unnecessary pain.
Get the paper out of the way.
Awesome. Thank you.
You bet, man. Thanks. Take your mic back.
Yeah.
You got one right there.
Are we back with Josh?
Pass that mic.
Yo. We got Steve Coffey, round 2, everybody. What do we got, Josh?
I don't know if anyone is just wondering, but since you guys can't be here, I just want to let the world know that hanging with this guy feels really good. It's nothing like it. Justice.
The feeling's mutual.
Yeah, thanks, man.
So how's the event tonight?
Loved it. I got inspired. Really cool to hear about the things that people have going on and just people pushing the boundaries and moving forward and stuff. So loved it. Loved being here. Great energy.
Good response to your coffee. I keep hearing people say that it's delicious.
Perfect. Yeah, thanks.
Unsolicited.
It's great to get good feedback. Anytime you put a dream out there and you've thought about something, I mean, when I first launched this out, it was really nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
Just like, I hope people like it, I hope it's well received, and I think we did enough of that early on in a safe space to get good feedback from people, where by the time we launched it to the masses, we kind of worked out all the kinks.
So talk to me about that for a second, because that's something that I believe in wholeheartedly. I've experienced so many times. You have an idea and you share it with the wrong audience, and it automatically gets crushed, right?
Well, not the idea, more like your positivity and optimism gets crushed.
But I mean, if somebody, you pitch the idea to somebody and they don't really like the idea, and then you're like, it has the potential to kill your momentum before you actually have it fully vetted.
Yeah.
So you're saying that you talk to enough people to really kind of like get feedback.
Yeah. I feel like any feedback is good feedback, especially early on. And if you can take what people are saying with a grain of salt and just hey, that's first impressions, you can't repeat them. So anytime someone has a first impression, it's like gold. You just want to take that in, assess, what's going on, and then get lots of opinions, because it helps you improve, especially the negative stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's honest. If everyone just kind of says positive things.
I want people to hear that. So you're saying the positive is important because you need encourage, but the negative is important because it's going to make you better. Don't be afraid of negative feedback.
Yeah, it challenges you. It helps you get better. It gives you obstacles to overcome, and you get to just keep making something better and better. So what this started off as you know, even a few years ago is much different than how it is now.
Sure.
And a lot of it's from, you know, like
refining, feedback, listening to
constructive
people,
criticism,
not being stubborn.
Yeah. When we started off at like 8 grams, now it's 14.2. You know, we started off with different filters. Now we have developed these new filters for full immersion, so it gets the flavor in and out.
Yeah.
We made sure that we went compostable with all of our materials. Like, there's so many things we did because we had to get it dialed.
Perfect.
And we're not just doing good coffee, but we're going like specialty coffee standards, which means,
Awesome.
you know, so. And
all right, we got 20 seconds.
All right.
What's the big dream? What's the big vision? What's the big ask? Other than the fact that this is on Kickstarter right now.
Yeah.
It's fully funded. It's successful. You're going to get your product. It's real. Go buy it. What's your pitch?
9 days left. We're a legit company. We're B Corp. I don't know if you knew that.
B Corp.
But we got our B Corp.
It's a
So,
B Corp.
so we're profit.
Triple bottom line.
Profit and purpose. You know, we get to focus on the awesome things. We're on Kickstarter, Steeped Coffee. We're funded. We're excited. We've got 9 days left. Go check it out. We're looking for a good last push on this thing.
You're going to get it, man.
And we're really looking to just make coffee as simple as possible. We're not adding more tech. We're actually using innovation to simplify.
Perfect.
And it's the simplest way to make a great cup of coffee. Steeped coffee. Check it
You're
out.
the man.
All right. He's the man.
I love you, bro.
Is that it?
Yeah. Mic drop. Don't drop it. It's an expensive microphone. All right, so we have C. Simone Fafone. Is that how you pronounce your last name? Papone. Sorry. C. Simone's amazing. She's a coordinator here at Runway. She's a coordinator with Women Supporting Women, right? It's a network of 2,000 women here in the Bay Area on Meetup. You can go join the Meetup. And you're also the CEO and founder of Film Hero.
Yes, correct.
And
That's right.
Film Hero helps filmmakers find audiences and monetize their films. Is that what you're doing?
Yes, we help them by creating screening tours by targeting their niche audience versus trying to give them a big theatrical distribution. What we do is we take the topic of your film and we actually find your pockets of audiences, and that's where we put your film at, because not all independent films are made for worldwide distribution or national distribution. It's made for certain audience members.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You are truly a Renaissance woman. You've been running around all night doing all this stuff, and you're a co-founder. You're a founder of your company, right?
Yep.
Doing all this stuff. I love film, so talk to me a little bit more about your company. So you take independent films and you find an audience for it.
Yep.
I mean, that's like the definition of product market fit.
Yeah,
Right? So how do you actually do that?
Well, we leverage technology to do that. So the hard part for independent film is it hasn't fully evolved with the digital economy.
Yeah.
So they haven't fully understood digital distribution versus physical licensing distribution, booking opportunities, things like that. So what we do is we take our fun little algorithms and we take their niche topics and we focus that. We take that algorithm and we target where those people are that are interested in that niche, who have that behavior actions online that show that they are into that type of niche film.
Awesome.
And so,
awesome. That's really cool. So, you know, we're here at the Runway Incubator. We're here at the Twitter building. We're talking about the optimistic view of the future and wanting to be a part of that.
Yeah.
What is your optimistic view of the things you're involved in? It could be whatever's.
I think it's only getting better, you know, especially with VR and AR at a great place right now. There's so many different ways our storytellers will be able to utilize technology to tell their compelling stories, to make ugly beautiful, to share all these stories in so many different channels and so many different manners. I believe it's only getting better because there's so many different options that are coming their way. They just need to be educated on how to use the best route.
Awesome, awesome. All right, so we have 30 seconds left. You kind of already gave me your optimistic outlook. What about your optimistic outlook for women in technology?
God, it's been a crazy year. but an amazing year for women, I believe. I believe this is a turning point year coming for us in 2008. 2017, we took time to prepare ourselves to take over. And now I believe in 2008, we're going to be there. There's going to be so
2018.
many... 2018. There's going to be so
She's
many...
going to fix the past.
Yeah.
That's how good.
I'm
that's how good
using
she
our
is.
past mistakes to create a better future.
Hey,
And that's what I'm doing with my
Good.
women's group. And I know so many other women leaders who are leading groups and doing the same thing. And we're all just going to make 2018 our bitch. So.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Check out Runway. Check out Women Supporting Women on Meetup. Check out Film Hero. Thank you, Simone.
Thank you,
You've
Justice.
been wonderful tonight.
Thanks.
Wait, don't leave yet. Don't leave yet. No, come sit back down. I'm not done with you. Boys, go get Justice. Hey, everybody.
Sup, dude?
And I just want to say publicly how amazing you are. I know I said it from stage. I want to say it to the live stream. You know, you are the most valuable player. You are an incredible leader.
It's true. MVP of the night, very clearly.
I'm actually emotional. I actually am almost ready to cry because of how grateful I am for you.
I'm so glad I was able to be part of this and that you brought me into this.
No, you're really, it's been such a joy. And Katie from Runway said we should do this regularly, so
Yeah,
now we got
I
to
hear
figure out
we
how
want
to
to
do
do
it.
this monthly.
I said seasonally, maybe twice a season. Uh-oh. But hey,
We've
I
got
think
an ambitious plan going.
I think we're making.
Well,
I think
we
we're
have
making
we
a
have an
difference.
igloo, we have an igloo, we have
The
technology
cosmic
companies.
igloo.
I mean, there's a lot of potential here.
This is where the magic happens.
Yeah.
Is what we say here at Runway.
That's awesome. I just want to hug you and tell you how much I'm grateful for you.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Take it away.
Okay, okay.
Well, brother, how do you feel at the end, the climax of the big event you've been working on for so hard, so long, bringing your networks together from so many different places, all under one roof? How do you feel?
I feel really grateful for you.
Thank you.
I'm emotional. I'm like super grateful. Thank you, bro. Thank you for being here and for inspiring people. Thank you for honoring all the speakers and the partners. Thank you for actually making a difference. Thank you for snuggling with my kids right now. Thank you for being family with me. And for all the late nights that we had that you formulated this plan with me. Super grateful. I just want to say, like, today matters. You know, like, so for Twitter and Instagram on my 2 phones, because 1 phone's not enough, so I gotta have 2. And for all the Facebook and YouTube people, like, today matters. Like, this should be shared. Some of the most powerful people I've ever met in my life were here on these couches, shifting people's thinking from dystopic and fearful and anxious and technology is going to ruin everything to hopeful with vision, and there's a plan to mitigate risk. There's a plan, there's a solution for things. It actually matters. So, I mean, that's it. That's where we end. What do you think, Malachi? Come here, baby. Boys, come here. Come sit on Daddy's lap and let's wrap this thing up. Let's wrap up the live stream, okay? Just make some room for Kenton.
This
right?
is-
Yes, that's not making room.
That's
called spreading out. Come on over. Okay. Okay, boys. Why don't you tell the world why you love Mommy so much?
I love Mom because she's my mom and she birthed me.
And you
They're
said
very
recently at
pragmatic.
school that of
Very
all the people in the
pragmatic
world,
reason.
she's your main hero. Why is Mommy your hero?
Mom inspires me because through dance I've evolved, and I just want to dance, and I like doing it from Mom, so I want to do it with Mom.
That's what Whitney said. Dance changes lives.
Hey, Kenton, I think you're amazing. What do you think? Are you feeling shy? Do you want to say anything? Okay. Well, from all of us here that are part of the future of tech, I want to thank Kris Vallotton's audience. I want to thank Ed Silvoso's audience on Transform Our World. I want to thank the Runway audience, the folks at Congo that helped us. I want to thank Ghost Hand Productions for all that they've done. I want to thank HandSnap and Justice Earl. I mean, I know I'm going to keep going. I'm not going to stop. I want to thank Steep Coffee for bringing the coffee. I want to thank all the speakers that came and the companies that they represent. I just want to...
I had coffee today because this morning I was really sleepy and at school I couldn't really do my work.
Well, congratulations, honey.
Steep for
I want to
Kids is
thank
coming
coffee
out.
for being in existence to help us have energy. But I'm grateful. I'm content. Like, this was more than I could have ever imagined. And I'm so excited to see what's going to come from the content that we curated and actually cultivated today. I think today mattered. And I'm so glad that all of you are part of it. I really want to turn the camera around on all of you. Like, Gina, come in here. I want to talk. Gina.
Yes.
When I first met you, I'm like, oh, wow, you're so radiant. There's something I see in your eyes. Like,
you still see it?
Of course I do. Look at what you did. I had Justice and Luisa both come up to me, and they're like, oh, my gosh, Gina's the best. She's saving everything. She makes everything so great. Everybody, Gina, right here, she's the reason why this thing is so amazing.
12 hours straight of just straight hustling.
Non-stop.
I'm a hustler. I can add stage managing on my resume.
Yes, there you go.
You
Sophia.
did such a good
You gotta,
job.
come in here. I want to thank you in front of everybody. Please come.
All three
And then, isn't there Jenny? Is Jenny still around? I want to say,
Jenny, Tim.
Sophia, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much for everything you did for us.
Dog pile.
I'm so glad you're a part of this. It's so
It's
amazing.
like,
Get in here.
this is like the end of Saturday Night Live, where everybody's like,
spin around.
the music comes in,
thank you.
everybody
yes.
hugs.
The credits are rolling. This is the team that did it all. I did nothing. I just cast a vision. Everybody else did all the work. I got to yap my lips. Everybody else actually made it happen.
Yeah.
In my son's eyes. I
He is.
am not famous. Just to
He
you.
is.
Okay.
Well, thank you.
From all of us here, I can't thank enough people. I just want all of you to know, one last final time, I'm loving you right now.